Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. I have to report that it is an absolutely beautiful, horribly rainy, gray day here. Oh well, I do have some coffee. It is morning, I guess. I don't see the sun, but it'll be rainy all day. Hopefully, you guys had a better day. Hopefully, your weekend was great. Mine was rainy, but it's a rainy season over here, so as to be expected, I would guess. But hopefully, your weekend was better. And coming at the end of the weekend for you guys into your week tomorrow, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun talking about some of the stuff Hollywood is up to, which is always interesting and unique and first time for everything. You know how they are. Even though something's been done for decades and decades, it's new. It's first. So we'll be getting into that. Nevertheless, hopefully you guys are going to go over and hit that share button and like a button as well. These things help us out, let people know what's going on so they come join us. I'm going to do the same thing. And hopefully we'll have a couple of the guys show up. They said they would be a little bit late, but until then, it's just you and I. You guys know how great that's going to be. But nevertheless, my weekend, like I said, it was pretty rainy. I kind of stayed home. I worked on Saturday as usual, but I did kind of stay home. But nevertheless, do me a favor and let me know in the chat um, if that intro was too hot or not. I got a couple complaints about that, and I think this one should be better. Just let me know. If not, I might have to go back and really cut the volume down on those things quite a bit. Just let me know in the chat how that intro came through so I can adjust. Anyway, let me see here. So there we go. And share. All right, very good. The Twitter thing is kind of completely done on my side. Facebook should be as well. I guess I should find another media to kind of use for my notifications and stuff. Maybe you guys can give me some suggestions on that because Facebook doesn't is just getting absolutely trashed as it should be. So it's probably better to get away from that. And Twitter doesn't even like to work on this thing with YouTube anymore. So whatever. But Roger Hale is here. He says, "Let's see what transpires today." Yes, Chester, my weekend was great. Thank you very much. Well, I'm happy to hear it. And Roger says, "Is the Thunder God going to join us today, brother?" Yes, he is. He's just running a little bit late. No big deal. The intro is fine, but yeah, if you can lower it just a bit, and you will be fine. So, so this one's okay because I'm going to I adjusted this one. I don't want to see what the other ones do, so maybe I'll put it down a little bit more and try to adjust them all down about 40%, I guess, because this one was at 50. Hmm. But oh well, I'm not a professional I don't know what you call that, video editing or video production. I don't know, but they are fun to make though. I do enjoy that. All right, so let's see here. Let's since the guy is going to be a little bit late, I might as well just go ahead and get right into it. So I will share the screen, so if they show up, they will be able to jump in real quick, and I'll do my board game stuff, which is always my thing anyway, isn't it? So let's see here. All righty. Let me bring this up. All right, now today I wanted to. I actually mentioned this in a kind of a list of board game things had done a few months back. I just kind of mentioned this amongst other things, but Castle Panic is a game that's quite a bit of fun, and they're actually running a Kickstarter right now. As you can see, well, that's in yen, so it's about $300,000 they've made so far. Um, and Castle Panic was a really fun game, and it's making some good money. This will be a little bit pricey for you, I think. Let's see what the price is. About $60 to get the general one, and you probably be able to spend a couple $100 on the top end. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a couple $100 for everything, or 350 for everything. All right, there we go. But so it's a bit pricey. It is very pricey. But the good thing about Kickstarter and board games is You can wait for a board game to come out in your local brick and mortar, of course. But getting on a Kickstarter, the reason why it's so popular and it's kind of the Kickstarter is the home of board games, is because you can get all of these. They can promote and do these runs that give you all these extra things. Now, this right here, I'm sure will end up on a Target shelf or something eventually, but it's really a specialized item. Even though they're making $300,000 so far, they'll probably end up closer to 1 million on this, I'm sure. It still kind of is a unique thing because Castle Panic is if you look at the board here, what happens is you get your castle, and in the game you have like little cardboard standees that stand up in there. And what you're trying to do is the party is trying to defend the castle, and each round you're drawing cards, and new monsters will come out on these rows. You see, there's these rings on the board, and you have a back row, and then every round they move up. So each round, you're on your turn. You're trying to use the cards and the abilities you have to kind of keep the enemy at bay. And if you fail, basically they'll come in and destroy all your towers, and you're done. If you succeed, of course, you keep your towers up. And that's the game. It's really, really simple, but it's a lot of fun. This is a great another party game to play. Kids absolutely adore this game, and to be fair, so do I. And normally you just get these little tokens and discs, and it's good enough, I think. I've enjoyed playing this game with the kids, and my even my students a lot. It's just a simple little fun game. It's very exciting because every round you're having to make decisions because you have these monsters getting, or these some kind of threat to the castle getting closer and closer to you, and you have to deal with it. This version, however, as you can see, has plastic miniature versions of everything. So, excuse me. I'm probably going to buy this one. Another thing for me to paint, as if I'm not far enough behind anyway. But because you are drawing things out of a bag, which is another interesting difference on instead of drawing from a deck of cards, you're drawing out of a bag, which is neat. These are all wooden discs. They look well done instead of little cardboard. Well, not discs; they're like triangles. But this is if you have the money for it, like I said, it's going to be 350 bucks, whatever it is. It's a pricey thing, but if you have the money for it, you might want to get it because this is a really good game, especially if you got kids. If you are part of like a if you're like a youth pastor at a church and you do VBS, or you do like a Wednesday night stuff with the kids and you play board games, which is something I suggest you do, this one is a really nice pickup here. It's pricey, but I mean, come on, look at that. That's badass. Over here, we got Dave saying hello. Me, Grimlock saying King saying Chester, did you catch any of the May Sumo Basho? No, I didn't. I don't watch sumo, really. Eric says, what about actually on Kickstarter? What are you talking about, Eric? You can come in here and say hi if you want, Eric. By the way, I don't know what you mean, but Kickstarter is the home of board games for damn sure. And it's changed the way they sell and come to the market. Like I said, this is a very popular game. You could probably find it at Target, I would imagine, Castle Panic. But it allows them to sell specialty versions or to introduce versions. Kickstarter has been used very, very successfully by the board gaming world. That's for damn sure. But this one, no, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, gotta have it. Because I will definitely play this in my classes with the kids. They will love this. All these miniatures. The problem, I'm going to have to paint all of it unless they have like a painted version. They usually do, actually. There probably is a painted version you can buy. Let me see if they have that actually. Oh, it looks really good though. Look at all this. Kids love picking up, meaty miniature things and seeing it on the board come alive like that. They gotta love it. There's a good look at the board of the different rings of attack, right? It's neat. Cards look good and colorful. Everything looks nice. It's a really good upgrade. I don't see a colored version. They haven't unlocked it yet. They're probably expecting to get up toward $1 million, so the unlocks will be large. And of course, you see on this page, it also there's many playthroughs and explain. You can even watch a old Wheaton boy there play a game of it on his tabletop there, if you can bear him, because he's pretty unbearable. But whatever. Just I like Star Wars board games, and this one looks gorgeous. Let's check my international shipping from me, because I will get the full one. So I'll get the full 351 here, maybe even a little bit more if they come up with a color version of it. Save me having to paint it. Let's see. I'm not there. Not there. That's not me. No, no, no. Let's see here. No, that's not me. No, 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 no. Where am I? So what am I? Am I not on the list? Uh-oh. These are all European prices. EU1, EU2, 3, 4. Huh. Oh, rest of Asia. Here it is. So that would be $55. Yay. Well, at least it's not $133 for the rest of the world. Jesus, don't live in Africa, I guess. $55. Actually, it's not that bad. I've paid much more than that for shipping. Mm,
Much more.
I have, dude. I've spent
Ah,
hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Yeah, but you know, I'm just trying to tell the people about a fun board game here, and they have a updated version with all kind of plastic miniature and plastic pieces and stuff. It's pretty cool.
hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Grimlad says, "You should watch Chester. It's more exciting than anything coming out of Hollywood." Uh, yeah. I when I first married my wife, living in Hawaii, we had NHK, International, and I did watch sumo for a little while, but I don't know. In the end, it's just a couple of fat guys slapping each other. I mean, really. Well, I mean, it is, right? I mean, what do you want, right? But some people do love the sumo, and good on you. And enjoy. But moving on now, that we've got Thunder here. We'll move on to our first subject of the day. However, check this one out. Even if you don't want to come and spend all this cash to get this upgraded version, go to Target, pick one of these up. They're probably like what, $30, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I'd say it's probably around $30, $40. This is a really fun game. It's very clever. There's a few different versions use the same mechanics, but just change the theme. I've seen a zombie one, and there's like this superhero one I saw. This is the classic, and it's just really neat because every week, not excuse me, every round, each player has to do what they can do to keep the horde away from the castle, and you're just fighting until the last monster is drawn, and either you successfully defend the castle together, or you fail together. It's a a companion, or my brain just left me. Um, it's not a competitive game. You're all working together. Why did my brain leave
Cooperative.
me? Thank you, cooperative. Jesus, that's not a good sign. Alzheimer's is on setting, Thundera. I'm in
Mm,
trouble. But it is a cooperative game, and it's one that works really well because it really builds up a lot of tension with the kids because it's so panicky. It's well named,
mm,
yeah. Especially little ones. I love playing this game with like the kindergartners.
hmm.
Yeah, they're awesome. It says 10 plus, but that's ridiculous. Maybe it's just Japanese kids, kindergarten kids are fine. I don't know. Maybe American ones are dumb. I don't remember.
They are.
But I do play the paper, the cardboard version with the the kindergarten kids, and they love it, dude. They love this game.
Mm,
I even
it's
had it.
good.
Yeah, it is good. I even remember this one kid. He was probably first grade or something like that, and we were playing, and one of the walls fell down because really the walls go down, and then you have the towers will come down, and the last tower down you lose, right? And
Right.
one of the walls came down, and the kid was like, shit. So it was kind of like shit in
Hmm.
English, and All the other kids laughed, but his mom was sitting over in the corner in the room because unlike other people, I allow parents into my classroom. I actually have it set up for parents to sit in the back and watch and enjoy if they want to. They usually don't. But anyway, she was not pleased. Eric says Castle Panic 22.99 at Target. Well, there you go. Yeah, it's even cheaper than I thought. But it's if you don't own that, put it in your collection. Like I said, if you got kids, if you do like a Bible study or VBS or some kind of community hall, a youth program or something like that, anything like that. This is a game you absolutely should have on your list because you'd be surprised. I play this with high school kids. I don't play a lot of games with high school kids, but you know, f- 3 maybe 4 times a year, I'll actually sit and have play a board game with the high school kids. I mean, they're there to study. It's a different situation, but even high school kids who sit down, they might look at it as like, "What's this?" They're high school kids. They get into it almost immediately, dude. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's just one of those really good games. So whether you get this big old expensive, $350 version or the 22.99 version, you're good to go. All right, well, let's move on then. But here we go. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited.
Oh boy.
I'm very excited.
Oh yeah. Predator 5, Will Bomb, reportedly casts Amber Mid Thunder, which is an amazingly cool name, as Native American female lead fighting against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe.
Yeah. Well, if she were a male, she would be full thunder. So, there's racism right there. Sexism. But
So stupid.
So stupid. Yeah, no. When I saw this, the two things came to my head. One is Predator. We'll get to that in a minute, and the other one is, Hollywood. Leave the Indians alone. The Indians have had enough struggle in their life. Leave them be. Leave them to their casinos. Leave them be. All
They
right,
seem to
stop.
be happy with him.
Yeah, yeah. Of course. Why wouldn't they? It's worked out pretty well for them, I'd say. At least the ones who get a take anyway. But
Mm,
yeah, just leave them be. Leave them alone. Stop this nonsense. They don't need your nonsense. They're not happy about your nonsense. They're certainly not. I
yeah.
actually grew up when I was kid because I moved around a lot, but I kind of kept coming back to my mother's hometown type of thing,
Mm,
which makes sense, right? And
right.
I had a bunch of friends that were all part of the Narragansett Indian tribe, and they're completely part of the culture. They're not separate. They do have their powwows, which have awesome barbecue. By the way, I suggest if you have a chance to go to a powwow, go to one because they can cook. Food's good, man. But beyond those things, they were just normal, just people, Americans.
Yeah.
And of course, they didn't go through the same kind of trouble that the Indians had in the Midwest, though. That was a
No.
that was a different time, and with that you had a lot of government. That's when the government was doing their shit. But anyway, I grew up with them, and one thing I do know about Indians, they are conservative people, dude. They are very
Mm,
conservative. And I've met other tribes, not just the one tribe. By nature they tend to, because of their traditions and stuff. I guess they're rather conservative people, and they don't care about your nonsense. And I do find it interesting that she's fighting against the gender norms and traditions of her tribe. So she is fighting against the Indians, right? She's fighting,
yeah.
and is she an Indian? She kind of looks Mexican to me.
I mean, there's some wiggle room there, depending on. She could be part Mexican, part Indian.
Well, I mean that's fine. Most of the Indians in America, of course, are mixed breed, mulatto types, which
Yeah.
makes sense. But you do have a big chunk of Indian. They look Indian, right? The red man, as it were. Why couldn't we get a hottie? I want a hottie Indian girl, man.
Those are hard to
Pocahontas
come by.
2.0, dude. Are they?
Yeah.
I,
They exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, but unfortunately, they're not a pretty group of females, from my experience with them.
well, I dated one, and I played with a couple. I'm all about the
That you might have
platonic.
found all the good ones.
Well, I'm all about international relations, dude. I'm all on that. Hmm. Absolutely. My wife's not here, by the way, so
I could
it's
tell,
all
yeah.
good. It's all good. Hi. All right, let's
Now,
put that down.
all the prettiness in those jeans stayed on this side of the world, on this side of the land bridge,
Yeah, well, that's fair
and
enough.
concentrated apparently in like Japan.
Although you got some pretty girls over here, I guess. To be fair,
I
I
guess.
prefer the Chinese girls over the Japanese girl. I think they're prettier in
Oh
general.
my.
Oh my God, this is horrible. You're right, Roger. But okay, that dumbness aside, as if you need to fix anything anyway. That's offensive. I'm surprised we're not going to get racism coming out of that concept just in and of itself. But that aside, let's put the dumb shit aside. Predator 5. Why? Why?
I
No.
didn't even know there were a Predator 4.
Well, there was. They call it. They just call it Predators or Predator or something
Oh,
like
was
that.
that the movie where they made autism a superpower or
They
something? And
did. They
yeah,
did. They taught us a
that's real.
lesson. Uh-huh.
That's real stupid.
Well, the whole
Uh,
movie was dumb as shit. It was really, really dumb.
there, in my opinion, there's one Predator movie, and that's it. The rest of them are a joke. Just a joke. Even the one with what's his name, was it Danny Glover? I think.
Yeah.
Just no, no. Get out of
Yeah,
here with that.
it was a little awkward, but I've enjoyed little bits of all the Predator movies, I think. But no, the first one was actually a really well-paced, good movie.
Hmm.
Since then, we haven't really gotten much. Even the AVP crossover stuff hasn't been great. But I'm kind of surprised because the last movie was really, really, really bad. I mean, it was like brain damaged bad,
Mm.
right? I'm surprised that they made anywhere near enough money to make another one. But now we're getting woke with it, so it'll be better for sure.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Because that always
And have a
helps.
female lead. That'll make a lot of sense. Yeah, she'll be the one. She'll be out here just whooping on predators. Not just. She'll probably beat multiple. Just take out a whole group of them
She will,
all by herself.
because she's Native American,
Hmm.
and she's going to educate her people. But yeah, it's pretty dumb. And there's not much more to say about that. There she is in all her awesomeness. Look how awesome she looks. Look how skinny and absolutely pathetic. Dude, I literally could put her through the hood of a car.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally.
From that position there, I could pick her up above my head and
Yeah.
slam her to the ground and knock her out cold.
Oh no, dude! I'd
No
one
problem.
hand her right
Yeah,
through the hood of the car, dude. I just over and over just thunder slam her.
and that's not even a proper roundhouse kick. So she also doesn't know how to throw those kicks that they have her throwing. Clearly, because she's not. Her hip is too far back. All you'd have to do is step forward and push her, and she'd fall right over.
Well, that's true, but to be devil's advocate in Hollywood, you don't actually need to be able to fight. You just need to be able to look like you can. Jackie
Correct.
Chan's a perfect example of that. Jackie Chan is not a fighter at all. He's a circus guy, but he looks awesome.
He
He looks
does. But
awesome.
at least he throws proper kicks. They at least look the
They
part
do.
most of the time. Occasionally he'll do that little side kick thing that wouldn't hurt anybody, but the guy has to sell it like he just got hit with a boulder.
Yeah, yeah. They're great at it too, dude. Those stunt
He's like,
guys are.
oh, oh!
Yeah, they're awesome. But but also another thing comes into play here that we're not seeing, particularly with the ladies in Hollywood these days. Particularly with the ladies, because the men are doing quite the opposite. They're not really working hard for it.
Mhm.
Talking about Jackie Chan, I mean, that dude. Can you even imagine how many hours of his life have been spent training?
Oh,
Can we even
obscene.
contemplate it? I mean,
Obscene. I would imagine up until very recently, the last 10 or so years, 15 years of his life, it was probably what he did with most of his time.
I would
Because
imagine.
he was in insane shape. And while he might not be an actual, competitive fighter or
No.
whatever, um, he at least had all of the right look
Oh yeah.
for the part. He kept himself in great physique, and he had the motions down so well that you would never know that unless somebody told you,
Yeah.
right?
No. No.
You
You
would think
wouldn't.
this guy can actually. go. He can actually go with
Yeah.
somebody.
Well, I mean, if you have Jackie Chan versus a normal bloke, Jackie Chan's probably going to win anyway, just because he's so
Yeah,
fit. That I
and
wasn't trying to
fast.
deride Jackie at all. I'm just making an example that you don't in Hollywood. You don't really need to be a actual badass. I mean, Steven Seagal exists. You,
True.
you just need to be able to look like you can. And
Yeah, the problem is she doesn't.
no, no, she no. This
See,
is
see the this is an '80s movie they're trying to rip off, right? Because they're desperate to, for some reason, to bring back that '80s feel to shit, and they've been doing it for a while now. But so they're trying to rip off this '80s movie. Well, the problem is, the good action movies from the '80s, the guys and girls looked like badasses. They looked like comic book characters. They looked like just some ridiculous, uh, over everything, over sexualized, over muscularized, just ridiculous caricatures of people by and large. And
yeah.
the ones that didn't were either legitimate martial artists, even if the martial art is kind of bullshit like Aikido, but or they had such a crazy a level of like physical charisma, like a Bruce Willis, that they made up for it, right? So the difference is this girl, she's not intimidating. There's nothing. She doesn't look like she could kick ass. Maybe she can. Maybe she's a badass kickboxer or something. I don't know.
No
But
way,
she
dude.
doesn't
Look at
have.
her physique. There's no way.
I know. She doesn't have the look. I wouldn't take her seriously at all if she tried to threaten me with violence, and no man over 5'5" probably would. So,
Even then,
I,
I don't think so. I have a question. Why is this American Indian having katanas in the back? Just a whole bunch of nihonto, just one after the other. Look, there's six of them
yeah,
there.
yeah, because
What's
that's
it?
the same thing.
Yeah.
You see,
Oh,
according to
oh,
Hollywood,
oh,
there's no
look.
differences.
Oh, look how awesome she is. She's got a spiky
Oh
bat that's
boy.
never been used. Didn't you look at that? Talk about attention to detail. Why don't we make that, so it look like it's been used before? Unless there's a montage of her creating it. I
A
doubt that.
great example of,
Uh-oh.
and obviously they're not going to use her. Great example would be Gina Carano. She can fight.
She can. Yeah.
She's a bad bitch. No, no joke, for real, a bad bitch. And she looks like it, right? She has a build like somebody who can fight. Even still, even being a heavier, bigger, bulkier, she
I
still
think
looks
that
like she
helps
could
her.
probably kick some.
I
Yeah,
think
she
that
probably
helps
kick
her
some
on
ass.
screen actually. That because when they have like Michelle Yao, for instance,
Mm,
she's nowhere near as entertaining as Jackie, but she's probably if I'm going to pick a female who could throw down to it, kind of approaching Jackie, or at least be able to stand side by side with him, Michelle Yao is that.
yeah,
She Police Story 5, I believe she was with Jackie. Michelle Yao, she's an example of a woman who can make it look good being skinny. But I think Carano's weight, her extra thickness, makes her look the part better. We know she can actually fight.
yeah.
But she looks better for the screen, I think, at her current weight. To be just
I agree with
she
you.
looks like really good for it. This girl is
That's my whole point there, right? So like in the '80s, like I said, they're trying to ape the '80s, and they would have chick movies or chick led movies with
plenty.
some badass muscular, like Bridget Nielsen, or
Oh my God,
the other chick whose name is escaping me, who was like just she looked like a warrior. That's what she looked like. She had the
Cynthia.
physique. Yes, they had the physique of a warrior. She has the physique of an accountant. I
I
don't
would,
buy it.
I would say middle school kid, Sigourney Weaver, for instance, not a fighter, but
Yep.
she sold that shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You
Sigourney
got
Weaver. We go a little bit into the '90s. The chick that played Terminator 2. What the hell's her name? Uh, Terminator chick. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She, at least in Terminator 2, got herself freaking jacked. She was ripped and shredded. Her arms were all freaking bigger than mine. Like
yeah,
she at least tried to get into that role of, hey, I'm a badass, right? I'm supposed to be a badass. I should look like a badass.
yeah. I mean, and that's kind of also the point I'm making. Excuse me. You have plenty of dudes that work their ass off to look the part, because I mean, in the end, your body is your tool when you're an actor.
Yep.
Right? And we have many examples of women doing their best in the past to try to make themselves look right for their part. Rock on. But we don't see much of this anymore. It's just a free pass. Wing Chun, Dave says, yeah, it's a Jet Li's thing. Um, and the interesting thing about martial arts, it looks great on film, especially if it's performed properly. But
Mm,
we know now it's not really a very effective fighting thing. Yeah, Lyndall Hamilton, that's right. But some of them are though. Don't discard all of it. Karate is an actual combat, uh, military fighting system. It's a little
yes.
bit different than the other ones. Karate is actually, and even judo, they're intended to for training a soldier to defend themselves when they become unweaponed.
Yep.
But we've also seen people take martial arts and make them the real deal. The Brazilian guys with their jujitsu, they made that real. Jackie Chan,
Hmm.
not Jackie Chan, excuse me, Bruce Lee tried with his Jeet Kune Do. That's actually an actual fighting system. Because he saw that, and Bruce went about training in every kind of fighting thing he could, and he took
Hmm.
all the best parts from various ones and put them together in a succinct actual fighting form. So there are
Yep.
some martial arts that have been made for actual combat. Just to
The,
make a
the
caveat.
one that's the best in both in pretty much every circumstance is wrestling, but it doesn't usually look great on
No,
screen if
no,
you're doing it to make it look like actual wrestling.
yeah,
But no, that's the most effective. I mean, you take
sure,
a world class I mean, look at UFC. The best fighter of all time is Khabib, and what did he do? He wrestled guys. He
yeah,
grabbed them,
yeah,
laid on them, wore them down, choked them out, tapped them out, whatever. But he just out wrestled them, and
yeah,
because there's nothing you can do. If a guy's got you and you can't get away, you lose. It's that simple,
yeah.
right? If he's got you in a neck hold or even an arm lock, trust me, those hurt,
They
and you
do,
can't get out of it.
they
You're
do.
done.
Yeah,
I don't care how tough you think you are. You're done. It's
yeah.
over.
Yeah, no, UFC's always been boring to me, but it is realistic though. You can actually save your life with that kind of stuff. And I know well about locks because when I worked as a bouncer, a lot of people have the Hollywood image of a bouncer just kicking ass. This is not your job at all. The matter of fact, if you're actually having to punch someone, you've kind of failed your job. But
Mm-hmm.
when I did have rowdy people and having to deal with it, I always fell on locks, hand locks,
Yep.
thumb locks, arm locks, constantly, because you could put a little paint on them, calm them down, take them out of their alcohol days a little bit, but you're not
Mm-hmm.
hurting them. But you have complete control. So that is definitely true. However, this is dumb on multiple levels. One, this character's dumb. Quit picking on the Indians. Leave them alone. Damn it.
Yep.
And fuck off. We don't need no more predators, dude. You guys can't run this shit. And then you gotta have a woke predator. Are you kidding me? It might be a good comedy. I don't know. I
And the
gotta.
worst part about is the first Predator movie has the perfect name. Technically, the alien isn't called Predator in that movie.
No.
The reason it's called Predator is because it's about the prey at first. The human is, right? All the humans are. And the alien takes them all out except one. And
Yeah.
then he realizes he's going to have to kill this thing if he wants to survive, and he becomes the predator. That's the
Yeah.
point of the name,
It
right?
is.
They flip it about half, but right near the end of the movie, Arnold starts hunting the alien.
Yeah, no, that's true. You cut out there a little bit too, which is my fault. I kind of hit a button.
No.
But just to reiterate what you missed from what Thunder said, and is the fact that this alien is hunting predators. It's going
Yes,
after six, really strong, capable
warriors and
predator
hunters.
warriors, people who predate their fellow man. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And in the last one, they were so dumb. Several times they made the joke, "What's this not a predator? It should be like Hunter." They kept goofing on it. Like, we found something that wasn't right, and it just you first of all you're idiots because you don't understand why it was called Predator. Second of
Mm-hmm.
all, you're idiots. That last movie was bad, dude. It was so bad. And the sad thing about it is, it had a fun little cast. That could have been a great little movie, dude. It was just
Yeah,
dumb. And of course, Olivia Munn. This guy, because who is Olivia Munn anyway? I mean, she's
just some chick that a bunch of
kinda
nerds like.
attractive, kinda. I don't know, whatever. I gotta move on because I'm gonna start yelling at shit. Stupid new Newfie says, "Is this for the Pocahontas Predator?" Yes, it is. They were talking about. To be fair, Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton were average build ladies. Yep, in their first
Yep.
movies, but their characters went through hell, and they leveled up. That's my point.
And both of their first movies were horror movies. Were more horror based than they were
Yeah,
actiony.
that's true.
And then in the second ones, they were much more actiony because the characters had leveled up, as Chester put it. They put on a whole lot of oomph behind them and became much more badass. But they're completely right there that yeah, the first Alien and Terminator 1 were horror movies, basically sci-fi horror movies, and fantastic films. Some of the last actually good horror movies, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, but the point that we're making here is you can't do that with Predator. It doesn't make any sense. The whole point of Predator is the alien's trying to kill you, right? And the alien is extremely good at trying to kill you. So I don't think it would make sense. I just don't think it would work if the Predator, who's out here trying to kill dangerous things, that's the whole point of it. He's not just
yeah,
killing at random. He's killing. They go and hunt things that they consider dangerous, what they consider, could be a challenge to them.
yeah.
What in God's name is he going to be hunting her for?
Oh yeah, you know what they try to do in the last movie to explain why they do that, other than just trophy hunting, because that's what they do. They try
Mm-hmm.
to explain, no, what they're doing is they're finding the strongest and greatest, and they're taking the DNA so they can update themselves. And the greatest thing they found so far was autism. I shit you not, dude. I'm not kidding. That's
I
that's
mean, it's not wrong in some respect. In humans, autism can be a superpower, but a mental one anyway.
savantism can be, not
Right,
autism.
exactly. A very specific type of autism can be, which turns a person into a savant when they get savantism. But other people with autism are completely crippled by it, effectively, because
Yes,
it's just so
extremely.
debilitating the way their brain works. And so to sit there and pretend like it's something that's a good thing that should be encouraged is ridiculous. It shouldn't be encouraged. If it happens, it happens. We shouldn't. I don't think personally. I don't like the idea of discouraging things like that, even Down syndrome. And so far as like through abortion and whatnot, I think that's wrong. But we shouldn't go the other way with it. We shouldn't
No, we
do
shouldn't.
things to encourage it.
Yeah, and that's right. Curious too. They are big game hunters. That's exactly what it is. And with Hamilton, for instance, in T2 Judgment Day, she got so buck in that they actually had to use her twin sister in the flashback scene so that she looked feminine again.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but anyway, dumb. No, thank you. Stop. Stop it. Stop at Hollywood. Stop. This is the theme of today, by the way. Is telling Hollywood to not stop. It is. It is. Let's
Stop it.
move on.
Get some
Stop.
help.
Just stop. Stop. Get some help. That's right. Let's go back to old Jordan in there and
Oh
giving his
God.
PSA. Go ahead, dude.
Mainstream media praised Disney for playing first gay character card yet again with Cruella. So is Cruella gay? Is that what we're doing?
No, one of her lackeys is gay. They don't have the balls to make her gay. Yeah.
I might watch that movie. Gay Cruella? That could be interesting.
Oh yeah,
Make her
be
like
all
the most
slinky and
ridiculous
creepy and shit.
caricature of a lesbian.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know why we need this movie. We don't need. She is the bad guy, but they're going to try to make her a good guy. I guessing, kind
Yep.
of like they did with the Maleficent, which was stupid. She's the bad guy, bad lady. But anyway, they're going on and on about how proud they are. Oh my God, he's so gay, and we're so proud, and so happy. And it's like, well, first of all, it's nowhere near the first gay character to show up in Hollywood. I know in the 50s there were movies made with straight up gay characters in them. But
Hmm.
beyond the openly saying they are gay, there has been many movies, including Disney movies, that have gay characters in them. They just didn't feel the need to say this person is gay, big flashing neon sign.
Right.
There because they didn't used to do that. It didn't used to have to tell you that they were gay because it was quite
Hmm.
obvious. But there have been many openly gay people in movies for a long time. It's freaking Hollywood, dude. James Dean was gay. For
Yep.
Christ's sake, dude. Um, uh,
Uh, it's just dumb. It's stupid. Nobody cares about where you're sticking your dick. The
No.
more you shove it in people's faces, they're
Ooh.
gonna care more because
Ooh.
they don't want to see it. I'm sorry to tell all these woke tards, uh, straight men react to homosexuality between two men
Uh-huh.
like looking at rotting flesh. If it's actually in our face, if we see two men kissing or being romantic that way, the vast majority of straight men are revolted by that.
Hmm.
They just are. The science is settled. It's in. We've had all kinds of studies on it. They don't really know why it's so revolting to men. Like there's theories, but nobody has a solid answer. But it is. When a normal dude, most of them anyway, not all, hashtag not all, but most of them, when they see homosexuality between two men, it just disgusts them. It's not that they hate them people or wish harm on them, but it's like looking at a big pile of poop. You're like, ah,
I,
I don't want
I,
to see
I,
that.
I know why. I can explain.
Uh oh.
Yeah. You see, this whole homosexual thing is actually part of the natural order of things. See, nature, Mother Nature, Gaia, whatever you want to call her, the big lady,
Mm,
planet Earth.
big fat lady. Yeah.
Yeah, that lady. She uses homosexuality to reduce populations. We see it all throughout the animal kingdom. Whenever a population gets too big, all of a sudden homosexuality appears. And of course, what it does is it spreads disease and chaos. And in the end, all the males will kill all the gay rats or rabbits or whatever it is, will kill them all off, and things will go back to normal, but the population is now greatly reduced, which was the intention. With humans, however, we've removed ourselves from the food chain, as it were, from the natural cycle. So it hasn't left us because the natural DNA is constantly triggering this because there's too many of us. Population is too heavy. That's why you find in larger populations much higher proportion of gays than you do outside of it. There is a genetic aspect to it. They're not wrong. Then you also add in the environmental aspect of homosexuality, which increases the numbers even more because it's either the cool thing to do, it's how they can be part of an in group or whatever. Right? Sometimes it's a very
Hmm.
negative influence that makes them into a homosexual. However, we've gotten past that, but that instinct inside of us okay, here it is, it's reducing population, then go kill all of it, is in us. It's part of the system. It's
Yeah.
naturally part of the system.
Well,
uh,
there's also a lot of evidence that I say a lot. There's enough evidence that homosexuality is while it is partly genetic, but its sexuality is genetic anyway. It's triggered, if you will, by a testosterone influx in
no, no,
utero.
you talk about the Trinity College research project that's been
Yeah.
going on for about what, 5 decades now.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they
So
found
it
that.
so it's basically a birth defect, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
and
not. I mean, it is natural insofar as all birth defects are genetic, but it's caused by something typically abnormal.
it's
But
well, it's
I
caused by the
mean,
mother.
yeah,
The
exactly.
mother.
It's
So
caused by
it's
a testosterone. I think it's like a testosterone storm, basically a surge of testosterone in the female when she's pregnant, and it just screws up the baby's sexuality and
yeah.
makes them
Well,
gay.
so therefore the DNA is triggering through the mother, not the child itself. It's kind of interesting.
Yes.
But that aside, it doesn't matter. We're human. We're beyond the animal aspect. We have the ability to control ourselves. That's why these days, in the Western world, you hardly ever hear of a person being killed because they're gay. I mean, when's the
Oh
last
no, it
time you
happens
heard
all the
that?
time. Twitter has assured me that it's a constant menace.
Oh,
A
that's
constant
ridiculous.
menace.
I mean,
That maybe even more than cancer. We're killing gay people out here, straight white men specifically. Only straight white men are killing gay people in epidemic levels.
okay.
That's what Twitter told me, and Twitter would never lie.
All right, fine, but you know what I mean. But so I mean, it shows you how much control we do have over those instincts. But that's beyond the point. That was a little bit of a tangent. But the point is dumb. You're dumb, Disney. This is not the first gay character in any way in Hollywood, and it's certainly not the first gay Disney character. I do believe you were just throwing around a gay character in your remake of Beauty and the Beast, weren't you? right?
Yeah. Yep.
But whatever.
Gaston's little toady was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
gay
yeah.
man.
This is so stupid. But more importantly, we're getting this lady right here is going to be your Cruella. She's going to be the good guy in the end. Okay, she's going to be the good guy, even though Cruella is one of the most evil bitches in Disney animation history. Right? I mean, she's really bad. But here, take a look at this chick though. That's playing Cruella. That doesn't work at all. Cruella was an older woman, much
Correct.
older woman. She is gaunt and she was sinister. This
Yes.
is a little short. I don't know what this is, but this isn't Cruella. What the make? My goodness, dude. But they got to make her attractive because she's the good guy now. So anyway, moving on. More. We have more. Are you ready for more? More.
Oh, just what I was hoping
More.
for.
More.
J- uh, Henry Cavill boards John Wick director Chad Stahelski. That's a very Polish Jewish name.
Yeah.
Highlander reboot.
Okay.
Does Highlander need a reboot?
Nope.
I mean, I like Cavill getting work. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he'll do fine. But do we need that?
And
I don't
this
think we. I don't think we need that.
I don't think we do. This is not a rumor, by the way. Not a rumor. Boom. He's at
Huh?
Deadline is reporting it, and he's actually tweeting out how excited he is to play the character. So this is not a rumor. This is real deal.
So he's gonna be a McLeod? Like
I
it's a full reboot with the same character,
yes,
Connor.
he's going to be not a McLeod, the McLeod.
Huh?
Yeah.
See, I love Henry Cavill so much. I don't hate it because I love him as a man and as an actor. I think he's one of the gems Hollywood has. But huh, I don't want Highlander to be rebooted at all.
Well, let I did not like The Witcher. But however, when Henry was on screen, the rare moments he was, he's badass, dude. It's
Yeah, he killed
badass.
it. Killed it.
His sword work is freaking gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
He obviously practiced a lot. Good on you there, Henry. And I can see him doing it. And keep in mind now, I know the comment is going to come out immediately in the chat. Is well, being British, at least he'll be able to pull off some kind of Scottish accent. I'm sure he will be able to.
Hmm.
However, one of the things about Christopher Lambert, who's a French guy, one of the
Yes.
things that sold that character so well was his accent was so indistinctly European. I
Hmm.
actually think that helped him a lot because, well, he's centuries old. He's been all over the world. He probably speaks, a couple dozen languages. His language would be completely altered and affected. I mean, for instance,
Yeah.
do I sound like a New Englander? No. But when I,
Sometimes, but not usually.
yeah, it probably
A
comes
great
out.
example, though, to make your point even better, is Booster. Booster has lived most of his life in New Zealand, but he's from the UK.
Yeah.
But his accent isn't really British. It's like a weird amalgamation of the two.
Yeah, it is.
And it's pretty cool, actually,
Yeah.
because you can't really put a place on him. And that's just in one lifespan. We're talking about a dude who's lived for hundreds and hundreds of years all over the world. He's going to have some kind of mutant tongue coming out of him.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I think Lambert really that was a good little aspect. Not that
Yeah,
I'm going to have any trouble with Henry Cavill's Scottish, Highlander. I'm not going to have a problem with it because he will be able to pull it off. I'm sure. I mean, like I said, he is English. He's not American. I know a lot of people think
correct.
he is, but he's not.
I remember
Um,
that got a lot of people angry when they cast him as Superman, and now everybody wishes he were. Wishes, for God's sake, please give us a real Superman movie with him.
yeah, yeah. Where the yeah, and Dave says, and here we are. We're the princes of the universe. No man can be my rival. That's right.
As long as it has that song, I'm fine.
Well, dude,
Give me some Henry.
it's the John Wick people, man.
I know
Yeah.
that's even better because they're. Here's why that's better. I think those people understand how to make an action movie
The
in
Indonesian
now
guys, yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know how to do it because we've seen all three John Wick movies, and the action is definitely not anywhere the problem
No.
in any of those movies.
No. And they're awesome.
So, and especially considering, I think they were clearly inspired by old action movies to make John Wick. I mean, obviously. So I think the movie itself is probably going to be wonderful, actually. But
Yeah.
do we need it? I don't think that's the
No,
issue. Like,
that's the problem.
eh,
Do really, because the Highlander series, the first movie was freaking epic. It was awesome, and then
yeah,
it was not. It just was not, dude.
no,
They've made 5 or 6 of those, by the way.
yep. And they had a
No,
very long running
no.
TV series as well.
They did, which was better than all the remakes, to be fair.
It was.
But it was, yeah, no. I'm really conflicted because I don't think we need it. We have the original; it still holds up great. I watched it not too long ago. It's still great,
Yeah.
right? So I'm conflicted, but I think Henry's going to absolutely murder it, though. I think it's going to be really cool, and you'll get a much more in depth, McLeod with this because he can actually act, whereas the other guy is his language, especially at that time, he hardly spoke any English. It really restricted it. But then again, I think all of those things came together in magic, lightning in a bottle, and
Hmm.
it created that great movie. So I'm a bit conflicted by this, but at the same time, I want to see it. I don't know, dude. Uh,
I like that the John Wick director is doing other stuff. I don't. It's not that I don't like the idea of a good Highlander movie. It's just I don't know. I don't want another reboot. But if there's one director out there who could probably do a reboot and it not suck, this is probably especially of an action movie. This is
mhm,
probably the guy. So I don't know, man. I'm
yeah.
glad Henry's got work
So
because
am
he
I.
needs to he needs
I'm
to be in
happy
every
with it too.
movie because he's fantastic. If the world wasn't so retarded and hate white people, he should be the next James Bond. But since that's probably not going to happen, at least it's definitely not going to happen. Uh, I guess he can be the Highlander. He can be the immortal who takes people's heads. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, and bring in the our star from the first movie and make him the Ramirez character, right? That would be
Yeah,
fun.
that
Uh,
actually would be great because
yeah.
Lambert. The best thing about Lambert that he still has, from my understanding, is that voice. It's unforgettable when he
Yeah, he's
speaks.
got a
He
great
just
voice. Yeah, he does.
instantly gets your attention. So if he's playing an older immortal, an older swordsman, that's his mentor. That works for me.
Yeah,
And
just
you know
make
you
it
don't. Yeah,
Ramirez. Yeah,
yeah,
you could sell that well. I mean, he is French, and the even though the from kind of the mid to south of Spain is has all that Blackmore and Muslim invasion stuff going on and changed their genetic profile completely. In the north of
yeah.
Spain, you still have the original Celtic Spanish. They're white Europeans. So he probably be a better Ramirez than Sean Connery as far as in actual casting, but you can't
Hmm.
you can't top Sean Connery anyway.
No, there's no replacing Sean Connery. In fact, maybe they shouldn't even try. Maybe he
Yeah,
should just mention his mentor, and that would be it.
I mean
Because
Sean
who's
Connery.
filling Sean Connery's shoes ever in any role
No,
ever? No one.
and you're
It's not
certainly
happening.
you're not, and you certainly can't fill his thong either. So you know, but whatever. This is a conflicted one. One thing I'll say about John Wick, though, in the third movie, they did let the stunt coordinators actually play. Of course, I'm sure they were in all the other movies too, but being extras getting killed here or there. But in the end of that movie, John Wick, Keanu fought them mano a mano, actually him versus two of them. So it was kind of cool that they threw him out and it got them actual face screen time. That was really neat, I thought.
Yeah.
That was neat. And
And
Jim,
apparently, this director has decided that he's only going to work with the absolute gems of people for Hollywood, from Hollywood as his leads,
yeah,
because he's got Henry and he's got Keanu. Both, from all accounts, are just wonderful human beings to be around. They're really, they're courteous, they're kind. They have great positive energy when you're around them, stuff like that. I've never heard personally, maybe it's out there, but I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Henry that's ever worked with him. So,
yeah. Well,
same with Keanu.
it's that old philosophy. You don't want to proclaim your political ideas. You don't want to be an asshole, at least that the public's aware of, because you need to be sellable. Whatever
Hmm.
character role you get, you need to be able to be sold in that. And if you're taking political sides and making a bunch of noise, you're reducing your ability to do your job. Henry understands that. Who knows what his
Henry
real
has,
opinions are? It doesn't matter. We shouldn't
and we
know.
probably never will.
We shouldn't know.
Henry has, I bet you, and this is just because this is just a hunch. I bet you he's probably more conservative guy, more right wing guy. Henry. He's been a gamer. He's been a hardcore gamer his whole life.
Hmm.
And if you notice, a lot of hardcore gamers, like genuine ones, are more right wing.
Interestingly,
It's
I
just an
wonder why.
interesting thing. I don't know, but it does seem to be the case.
The
But this
mechanicalness,
guy,
maybe. Yeah.
but Henry was such a hardcore gamer that when he was called for the role of Superman, right, when they called him and said, "Hey, you're my Superman," I believe it was Snyder himself. He was playing. He was raiding in WoW with his WoW guild. That's how much of a nerd this absolute alpha Chad of a man is.
Yeah.
And he told them while they were doing it, and they just made fun of him.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Jiminy's got a few interesting comments here. I'd like to mention here. One, he said the best part was will be Clancy Brown returning as a Kurgan. Now, he was badass. He kind of stole
Yeah.
the movie. To be fair, he did. So that was really cool. But then Jiminy has a suggestion here. He says Antonio Banderas as the Spaniard. Ooh.
Well, he is a Spaniard, so that
He
kind of works
is,
out.
but he's showing
Uh,
his age hard, dude.
yeah, yeah. And he's not Sean Connery either. Like
No.
Sean just aged. He got more handsome as he got older. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
But
Yeah.
I don't think Antonio has been that lucky. I'm not saying he's like a ghoulish man or anything, but he hasn't. He's not have the Sean Connery age gene. That's for
No,
sure.
no. Sean Connery just got like a fine wine, I guess. But interesting though, Antonio Banderas, I could see that. That would be interesting. He could pull that off. He could pull that
Yeah.
off. Um, anyway, I'm
Oh,
gonna move
Banderas
on.
is fantastic.
Yeah,
He
I
can pull
like him.
off anything they give him. I've always liked Banderas.
Yeah. And Roger is no, Roger, no. We're not going to remake Zapped. Bad Roger. Anyway, let's move on. But I'm very conflicted about that. We got more though. We got more. Let's keep going here.
Rumor, oh boy. Rumor Mads Mikkelsen to star as villain in Indiana Jones 5 will portray a Nazi scientist recruited by America during 1960s space
And
race.
this is set in the '60s, intentionally. And of course, that's Project Paperclip. We've talked about that here before. That really did happen. Mads is an amazing actor. I love him and everything he's done. I've enjoyed him, even that boring ass Western thing he was in. But I like Mads Mikkelsen a lot. Here's the problem. Stop it. Stop it. We do not need another Indiana Jones. We do not need this movie. We do not need
No.
this movie. What are you doing? I mean, Harrison is literally falling apart. Literally. I mean, he was too old for the last one. He was too old. It was showing harshly. And now, what are we, a decade further on? Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, dude. And we know the people writing this and the actors in this, it is going to be ultra woke. Indiana is going to be on the sidelines anyway. And okay, he might be a nuclear scientist. That might be the actual thing they're going to stop an atomic bomb or something. But they're going to be all about civil rights movement, the feminist movement. It's the whole movie's going to be is going to be just absolutely dotted with it, dude. Right?
Yep.
We do not need this crap, man. We do not need this crap.
No, nobody asked for this.
Oh God, is
No.
she in it too?
Harrison
Oh
needs
my God,
to just
she's in it
retire.
too.
Oh boy.
Really? Oh, whoa, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, this is going to be, and this got not her. It's they got to show the lady who's in it here. Maybe not. But whatever. No, dude. Please, God, no. They're going to do it though. It's already in works. It's been in the works, but it's like I'm not even going to bother to show up for this one. The last one they shouldn't have made the fourth one. They shouldn't have made it. It wasn't a good
No.
movie. It was nonsense. He was way too old. The three movies is a beautiful little trilogy, probably the best trilogy ever made, as
It's
far as
up
just
there.
pure trilogies. Yeah. Now, I think the Harry Potter movies, as a set, of course, it's more than three. It was like eight. I think they were really good for what they were doing. I think the Marvel movies, if you want to throw them together, had many more hits than misses. But no, no, God, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we don't need more Indiana Jones. We didn't need the last one. It was pretty bad. It was all green screen. They didn't do any on-set shots, from what I could tell, and that always looks terrible. I'm glad that fad has started to fade, or at least isn't as
yeah.
prominent. Uh,
Well, I'd say
because
blame
God,
John Wick for that.
those movies look terrible when you go rewatch them. Any of them
Yeah,
that are all green screen, even Endgame. Go rewatch Endgame. It looks horrible,
it's a bad movie.
and it's
Uh,
not old.
Now, Booster's in the chat. I'm wondering if he's in here with us.
No, he is
He
not
is
because he's
not.
a bad Kiwi.
And he says he really wants to see Harrison Ford in a wheelchair beating up Antifa. I'd pay for that. Um, this movie would be about how a black woman's sequel was the first woman on the moon, maybe. Uh, into a fridge. That's fair enough, Booster. Fair enough. No tickets, no need. But as you can see, we got some things going on here. This one's an absolute pass. This is okay, and it's stupid. All right, so let's keep moving along here, and let's shift gears. I'm going to come back to this here in a moment, but I do want to shift gears and move into this right here. So go ahead.
Netflix announces 3 new animated projects as part of initiative to reclaim. Oh boy, animation
Yeah. Well,
to reclaim it. What is what from
well,
what?
now, to be fair, Netflix has been doing a lot with animation over the years. They put a lot of money into it. They whether they buy something directly or more pay for something to get made. We've seen good collaborations. I would say it's about 50-50, maybe, because some of the ones they make aren't so good. Some of them are not bad. Right, that Dota movie wasn't bad. So there are a few good ones, but what do they mean by reclaim? I don't know. Let's check it out. They are going to have 3 new animated projects as part of the initiative to reclaim the animation space. All right. They revealed the series through their Netflix family Twitter account. Oh, nice. New animation. Is it really going to be family based? Introducing 3 brand new film series from Asian American creators: The Monkey King, Boons and Curses, and Mech Cadets. Asian American? Asian American? Don't you mean Japanese? Okay. Because that's who's making him. Jan Lee, Netflix manager of original animation. Oh, Jan, or Jane, maybe Jane. We'll go with Jane. Detailed the projects were about reclaiming the animation space. You've said that several times, so let's get to it. She wrote, "Never underestimate the power of seeing yourself on the screen. Watching my favorite cartoons growing up, I rarely saw a face or name like mine. Really? Why didn't you watch anime? Because it was just lots of them, lots of them, but like
And how old is
all
this
of it.
person? Because growing up, I saw all kinds of Asians in
Yeah, I don't know what
cartoons.
she's talking about. But
Are
I'm
you
assuming she's
75 years old? What the hell are you talking about?
maybe.
You know,
Uh,
you know,
uh,
I love that fucking argument. They always open with that
they
argument.
do, they do.
Growing up as a kid, I never saw anybody like myself. What are you, a vampire? And you have no reflection, you soulless cunt.
I
You
know.
from a bar? What
This,
are you from Mars? What the
hey,
hell?
Grimlock's here. Hey, uh, no, it's true. They always do open that. There's more bullshit to come after as well.
Of
So she
course. Yeah.
rarely saw a face like hers, and certainly never as a hero. Certainly never. But there's literally thousands of them. But I always had a passion for animation, and now I get to reclaim the space for myself and others. Because, see, animation is something that Japan does. America, until recently, kind of did the cartoon. To be honest with you, I get to
Yes.
reclaim the space for myself and others who deserve to see ourselves on screen. Okay, I love the power of animation because it unlocks imagination and potential, empowering us to build new realities and see ourselves as the heroes. Okay, fine. With each colorful frame and character we get to create together, we are defining our own world for kids around the world who don't have to wait to see someone like them in the end credits. Well, all right, now let me ask you a question here. I grew up watching plenty of Japanese animation and Fat Albert and a whole bunch of other stuff. I love those things, and I certainly didn't look like anybody on screen.
Nope. Not at
Certainly
all.
not. They didn't have
I
any
grew up.
giant
I grew up watching Fresh
Sasquatches.
Prince of Bel-Air, watching Family Matters. Will Smith was my movie star when I was younger because he was the shit in
Oh,
the
Will is the
'90s up
shit,
till the
dude.
mid
He's awesome.
2000s. And no, I didn't. It didn't even register to me that he's not the same skin color as me. I don't feel represented. What the f- does that even mean? If that's the only thing you are is your skin color, you're a piece of human shit.
And did
That's
they
what you
seem?
are.
Yeah, that's true. And did
It,
they seem to forget that GI Joe exists? It's weird.
Yes.
it,
Oh, by the way, this
it's the
chick is
battle.
36 years old. She's
Thank you.
my age. She's full of shit.
It's
She's lying through her teeth. There were Asians all over cartoons, all over them.
Chester. It is the battle cry of the narcissist. Is what that is.
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah.
They they have to see themselves. How much of yourself do you need to see?
No, there was Asians. There was Asians in animation. There was that one in Magic School Bus, and he was a little dickhead. And
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
was it a Captain Planet? Was the Asian kid the one with heart, or was he an Indian?
He was an Indian.
Ah, shit.
There was mixed crews in just about every show.
Yeah,
She's
it
36
was.
years old. She liked the Power Rangers. I don't care what she says. And Trini was the shit. She was as Asian as you could get.
She was cute.
She was
Thank you,
awesome.
rest in peace.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Good point there, Bullet. I mean, there's
Oh,
just.
Jackie Chan Adventures is awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan
I
himself.
bid
was
that age like shit.
Yeah, they probably did. But this is ridiculous. There's been plenty of cartoons with representation, including an entire country's worth, called
Yes.
anime, right? So it is
Oh
dumb.
no,
Anyway,
no, those characters are white coded.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. The Japanese.
Really,
are
all that means is white
brainwashed.
people like them, so they must be evil. That's all
Yeah.
that means.
What are we looking at, Chester? What's this about the Monkey King?
I'm
Animated
going
web.
to. Yeah. Would you like to read the description? Go ahead.
I would.
Yeah.
The official description reads, inspired by China's famous legend Journey of the West, the film tells the story of the very special monkey and his magical fighting stick, who team up to fight against gods, demons, dragons, and the greatest enemy of all, monkey's own hubris. Yes, that's Journey of the West.
Yes, yeah, we've all seen it before many times. Matter of fact, there's a generation of people, which you would be almost part of here, young lady, that like a thing called Dragon Ball. Pretty popular. Pretty popular.
Yeah.
Already told that
Just
story.
rip
Pretty much
off of that.
Journey of the
Yeah.
West, yeah.
Yeah, it is Journey in the West. And
I mean, the guy's name is literally Goku, which just means Wukong.
Yes.
yes, that's right. But it's the Japanese version of it, by the way.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yep.
I
Just
do
real
want.
quick, because I gotta dig this in even deeper. Every single person in here has heard the term in lyrical form. Go Speed Racer, go!
Go
One of the
Speed
most
Racer,
popular
go
cartoons
Speed
of
Racer,
all
go.
time is a Japanese guy.
Yeah, well, there's many of them, dude. Space Battleship Yamato,
White coded.
Battle of the Planets.
Gigantor.
Oh my God,
I
dude.
had to go
there's
really
so
fast, so I had
many.
to win this race.
Yeah. Although one thing I do like about description is the fact that they are going to put his hubris in there because Monkey's actually a bad guy. He
he's
is
a little shit.
his penalty is to go along and protect the priest. That's his
Uh-huh.
penalty, and he should be a dickhead that along the way finally comes to understand something. It has endured for generations. You're right, Chow. We've seen many versions of it. Thank you very much. To be collaborating with Tony, that's good. Well, Tony doesn't sound much like an Asian fellow. How do you allow them in there? Anyway, let's look at the next one here. Bones and Curses.
Boons and
All
curses.
right, Bones, Boons. I'd rather go with Bones.
That
Sounds
does
better.
sound way cooler.
Yeah, it would sound much cooler. This is a comedy action animated series. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead and read
Animated in 2D. Interesting. Who'd you say?
I remember 2D animation.
this one. Either way, you can do it, Thunder, if you'd like. Go ahead.
The official description reads, in the magical land of Maya, a cosmic war is on the horizon. The Raj and his monstrous army threaten to destroy any who stand against them.
Okay.
They needed emphasis. The universe hangs in the balance, and our only hope is wow, this is poorly written, is 3 foot tall and made of butter.
Oh goodness.
What?
This is an Indian tale by the way.
Okay.
And
Claiming
that's
to
in
be a
dot,
cursed
not
warrior
feather.
from another time, Bon may have been transformed into solid ghee, but he won't let that stop him. Teaming up with Rani, a young thief with delusions of grandeur, Bon must use every arrow in his quiver if he wants to defeat the Raj. Doesn't Raj just mean king?
Yes.
It's a very interesting titling they've chosen.
Yes. So all right, fine. Asian stuff, Indian stuff, cool. It sounds
I'm good
dumb,
with it.
but we'll see. It could be
Yeah, there's
funny.
a lot cooler stories you could take from Indian mythology and Indian
Mm.
folklore.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like really cool, like spaceships and shit. And
there is.
now
There's
we get a
don't
dude made of butter.
foreshadowing.
Uh,
All right. And
Just like
Grimlock's
Crush the
still in
Kid,
here.
soon to be available on Indiegogo.
Is Grimlock still in here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, cool. I'll let you read the next one. Now, Mech Cadets.
Oh God.
All right. Now, first of all, this art that I'm looking at is horrible. The mech looks
yeah, it's
fine,
bad.
but look at the characters. Look at the art for the characters. That shit is bad, dude. Look at that.
I've seen Asian people; they're prettier than that. You could
It's
do
not.
better.
It's just the
Do better.
proportions are wrong. Look at this dude up here with a busted up leg.
I,
Um,
I'm just like hyper fixating on that white dude now with his little hunchback going on.
it's
Yeah.
weird, and the face. This is bad art, dude. I'm a bit shocked. But anyway, description reads. Go ahead, Grimlock. Read that out there. Be all sexy about it.
The description. 50 years in the future, after a terrifying alien species attacked our planet, teenager Stanford Yu works as a janitor at the Sky Corps. What the? A janitor saving the world?
Yes.
And he's not a janitor saving the world, and he's not black. Racist.
Right. Or
Oh, dear.
Mexican. At least Jupiter's ascending got that right.
But he only dreamed of one thing his entire life: pilot a robo-mech. Giant robots from outer space came to our aid.
Aw.
Oh, so they're Transformers. Okay.
Nice.
Ugh.
So they're ripping off Transformers. For some reason, this Asian person's name is Stanford Yu.
Yeah.
Ah,
Very
Always
Asian.
you,
Super
isn't
Asian.
it?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's just a terrible name. I mean, if it's is it a comedy series? Is that what we're doing?
This
Is
one
that supposed
doesn't
to be a
say that.
joke?
No.
Because that's horrible. What is he? Is he the University of Stanford? That's what I immediately heard.
Well,
What's going on?
The guy's
to-
name who's making it is Jack Leong. That's a way cooler name.
it
Yeah,
is.
name of that.
However, just to keep in mind, although mecha is definitely a Japanese thing, we're going to give it to the Chinese, of course. But to keep in mind, though, the Japanese don't care, so they'll just give you their name. But the Chinese, because we're all other humans are inept and stupid, and they can't possibly pronounce their names or be able to read their language, they will give themselves an American or an English name. To help out us other lame humans, Jackie Chan as a good example. So they do tend to take a westernized first name when they're speaking outside of China.
Well, that's
That
fine
is normal.
because they have silly names.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Um,
They do. My point isn't so much that. Yeah, I know there's all kinds of like Chinese people who do that, but Stanford Yu.
Yeah,
Did his
just-
parents hate him, or did he hate himself?
well,
Because
I think
that's
the joke
ridiculous.
is
Weird.
Stanford U as in Stanford University. Stanford.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
It's dumb.
It's really dumb.
really shit.
Just like Doctor Who. Well, I actually, Yu is an actual first name here in Japan. And I actually got a little kid in my young elementary school classes. His name is Yu. And it's really interesting when I'm going to be teaching things like I, you, we, they. It's always fun.
So they're ripping this off from Boom Studios comic book, Mech Cadet U,
Probably.
which I've never read that one. I know their Power Ranger one is really good, but I don't know about their other stuff. Why didn't they just get with good old Saban or whoever owns Power Rangers this year and make a cool animated Power Rangers based on
That'd
that?
have been neat. Yeah, that'd be good. But I mean, of course, the thing overall, though, is looking at these three things. Okay, we got one that's American, I guess, with a Chinese guy and a black girl and some other Asian thing, and then we got an Indian one. All right, fine. And then we got ourselves another Monkey King. And all right, fine. But how is that reclaiming animation? The Asians have dominated animation since what? I don't know, the 50s?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they're fine. They don't need our help.
They don't
They're
need
in
our
fact the
help at
only
all.
ones who still do animation. We don't do animation over here. Not really. It's all digital, computerized stuff.
Yeah,
They over there
And
will
it's not
still
even good.
do some actual
Traditional, yeah.
animation. Yeah, traditional
It's
animation.
such wrong think. These people's brains are just they got brain worms, dude. That's what it is. It's brain worms.
Well, I like how
I
they're
don't mind.
reclaiming animation. Really, all they're saying to you is "fuck you, white people," for
Yes.
Yeah,
making animated things in the
Yes.
past
Yes.
that happened to have a lot of white characters because you were making them in countries with a lot of white people. It's the only
Well,
reason.
well,
It wasn't some conspiracy against Chinese people or something.
no, but to be fair, it's Walt Disney's fault, really, because
How
he's the
dare
one
he?
that inspired the Japanese to do animation. So it's his fault.
Yep.
yep.
It-
I
Everything's
was
Walt
going to say
Disney's
that
fault.
I'd love to. I would love to actually see that Monkey King one because I think that's going to be the first show that I've seen in a while that actually does the Monkey King in its purest form. You know, we've seen a lot of spins on the Monkey Tail, but just having Monkey King, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, well, none of them sound
Yeah.
bad. That's not the point. I'm just
Eh,
saying, what is this person thinking they're reclaiming animation? It was never lost, dude.
Mhm. Never.
mhm.
It's
Never.
just
In
don't. It's
fact,
just
all of the best animation is coming from Japan. And
yeah,
all of
dude.
it.
I
So
mean,
All of it.
would you
fuck
like to
off,
know
Jane.
how overdone Monkey King is? Even Lego has a show of it called the Monkey Kid. If you want
Oh
to
yeah.
see that,
Oh no,
and it actually looks pretty sweet.
that story has been told so many times. If you go to China,
Yeah.
there's two movie characters that are literally in hundreds of movies each. I'm not exaggerating that number. One is the
Hmm.
Monkey King, or the Journey to the West. The other one is Wong Fei Hung, who was a hero who fought against the British imperialism way back when. But those two characters are literally in hundreds of movies each. There are so many Monkey King movies, TV series, animations that come out of China and Hong Kong. So many. Even the Japanese have done it, as we said with Dragon Ball. It is a way, way overused character. I hope it's good. I mean, nothing about any of these things sounds particularly bad, although the Indian one sounds a bit dumb, but it's supposed to be a comedy, so good on them, I guess. But it's whatever. I just don't understand the thinking of this Jane Lee here. It's very bizarre. Anyway, let's move on. Moving on. Oh God, again,
Booster, it's all you.
It's
again.
all me. Is it just for me? The Sanderson sisters will return in a female-fronted Hocus Pocus 2 from Disney.
Now, if you would have made this 10 years ago, I would have actually been like, oh, that's cool. Now, I have no interest. I just
Um,
couldn't be bothered. I know my wife would probably be interested in this. She's a huge Hocus Pocus fan.
yeah.
But are they going to have the same cast?
Well,
Or are they going to be new people?
yeah. Let me explain it. The three ladies will be back, reprising the roles. Okay.
Okay.
This article, at least the release, makes a mistake and then fixes it, but no one cares about consistency, I guess. Of course, in the first movie, they were brought back from the dead by the lighting of the black candle. In this movie, they're also being brought back from death by a bunch of girls. The interesting thing about this movie is, in the first movie, which wasn't a bad flick at all.
No,
You did have a couple of male characters that were important to the story, although it was led by these ladies, of course. This movie, there will be no males in the cast at all. It's a pure
of course not.
female
Yeah.
cast, not a single male, not one.
How does that make sense?
I don't know. I mean, the last movie was a
Where's this
female-driven
film?
movie anyway, but you did have a couple of male characters that are important in it. Well, one sacrificing himself in the end, ultimately. But because these are evil witches, right? But that's the important thing to take from it. It's not female-fronted. It is a female-only movie, and they're very clear about it.
Um,
They're very clear about it.
that's really, 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 really dumb.
It is dumb.
Really dumb.
Yeah.
In
Why?
fact,
There's no need for
it's
it.
nobody asked for it either. And it's going to make my wife very sad because she is a huge Hocus Pocus fan. And if they're going to wokeify the shit out of it
They
and
are.
murder it.
And it doesn't make
So,
sense because the first movie was a female-driven cast. I mean, it was a female-led movie. It was.
yep.
But it had other people in it. They were part of the story. But for some reason now, We have to make sure there's no males in this movie at all, and it's quite brazen. We've seen a lot of this wokeness moving forward, and she's way too old now. She's going to look horrible. She was supposed to be the cute, sexy one, not anymore. But they keep doing their little nonsense, but this is just now there's not allowed to have any male characters. I mean, even in the in army movies, war movies, which of course are going to be, especially the past, are going to be male dominated stories. They would always make sure they throw a few females here or there in the French farmhouse or whatever. They always make sure there's some female somewhere. They always try to make sure that they put that in there so that it look like a normal world, but not this movie. This movie has got the ticket. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Dave, he always gets this mixed up with the Witches of Eastwick. Well, the Witches of Eastwick is a better movie. I mean, let's be fair. They both have Bette Midler, don't they? I think she's in both of them. But of course, the other problem with it is Bette Midler is an absolute terror. She's horrible. She says the dumbest shit all the time. I mean, she's really mean, nasty SJW, right? And it is good that they got the original cast back with Sarah Jessica Parker. Like I said, she looks like someone hit her with a bag of dead cats. And Kathy Najimy,
It looks like a
which
witch now. Works.
she does, but she was supposed to be the cute, sexy one. That's not going to work now.
Oh.
So I don't know what they're going to do with that. But anyway, this is dumb.
There was a
I ain't
time when
watching
she
it.
was sexy.
Well, that's the character she was playing, and she, standing next to these two. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But no, she's not a very attractive female. But
Ooh.
however,
Oh, she looks like a donkey lady.
she does look bad. And I'm happy they got work and all that. That's fine. But this is dumb. This is dumb. So I mean, look what we have today, right? We have another Predator coming that's all woke because Pocahontas is going to kick ass like no man could.
Oh my
We
god. Oh,
we
she
have.
was in Legion, and she was the worst part of it.
I'm sure she looks
Ah!
horrible, dude. I mean, look at this. Look at her badassery. Look at it. Look how badassery she
Yeah,
is.
the
Look at
fight
that.
scenes
Look
were
at
so
that.
awkward.
Look at that.
In every
Bad.
scene of Legion, she was supposed to be like the badass chick who would beat up all the boys, right? And then she gets her ass kicked, or
Well, she's scrawny,
she just
dude.
unrealistically
Um,
takes on 5-1 or something. It was
she's
silliness.
scrawny. It's dumb. Cruella's a good guy now, and they have gays. Henry is doing Highlander. Interesting. And Indiana Jones, of course, is coming again. And then here we have Hocus Pocus. So you can see the theme of today. And mostly, I'm saying no across the board. Pretty much no.
Yeah,
What do you
theme
think,
The only
Grimlock?
today,
thing,
everything sucks, and we should all die.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. What do you think, Grimlock? Are you up for any of that?
None of it.
I'll
Okay.
check out some of that anime. I'll check
Okay.
out some of that Netflix
I,
animation.
I mean, I don't mind Henry Cavill. I mean, like he's already. I know he's gonna do the research because unlike 90% of Hollywood, he actually cares about the job he does.
Shockingly, yeah.
He's. I have no doubt that he's gonna do a good job. But Highlander, to me, is one of those movies. I've considered quite a few movies that needs no remake. There's no good reason to remake it.
It's true.
Um,
Well, sure they can.
it
They can make
just
it a good movie.
it just shows. Smite him, Lord, smite him.
Yes. Eric Boyd says
It's
Indiana Jones in the case of the missing depends. Fair enough, Eric.
it just shows, as Eric July has rightfully dubbed them, the creatively bankrupt people in Hollywood.
Yep.
That have nothing to contribute. They don't have any ideas. They don't have anything that they want to that they're willing to take a chance on because they have burned so many bridges, and they keep thinking that, oh well, we can hop on the nostalgia train because that's worked, and the nostalgia train left the station about 10 years ago, and
More,
somebody
I'd
forgot to
say.
tell
Yeah,
Hollywood.
it's true. It's true. Yeah. It's a real shame though, guys, because the original Hocus Pocus is not a bad little movie, dude. It's a fun flick. It's it's not like my favorite witch movie ever made, but I thought it was fun. It was entertaining. It knew what it was. It was self-aware in a good way, you know. So it's a shame. Not saying it won't be a good movie, but it's just It's rude, dude. This is supposed to be a fun, lighthearted movie about witches eating children. Come on now. All right. Let's move on. Because it continues, you see, Booster. It continues. Go ahead.
Netflix announces new spy thriller series starring one Arnold Schwarzenegger.
70-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that'll be exhilarating.
The very last person you would expect to hear spy movie is
I
Arnold.
know, dude. It's so weird. Even though he did True Lies and things like that, it's not his thing really.
Yeah, but
Uh, No, I get you. I get your point. I get your point. We got this lady who's playing Phoenix in Top Gun because we have female fighter pilots in real life. Really do. Really, really, really. So many movies keep telling us this is true. But why, dude? I mean, he's way too old. Arnold, just take a bow, dude. Go enjoy the housekeeper. Get a new one. I'll give you. I give you a permission. Go get a 29-year-old. Okay, go ahead. What are you doing, dude? You're too old. Yeah, come on. And all those steroids, your dick ain't working anyway, dude. Stop it.
Yeah, well, by all accounts, it never really did.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's just once again bringing out the tiring old to keep pushing it out. Now, this is not a remake per se, like the other ones, but it's just like with Harrison. I mean, I love Harrison before movies. They're fun, dude, but it's done. Go enjoy your airplane, fly around. Arnold, do whatever you do. We don't need this. Does anybody in here want even have any inkling of interest in wanting to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger in a spy thriller series?
you know what's funny? The one thing that the fans do want Arnold in, they won't give it to them.
Yeah, it's true.
They they wanted King Conan. We've been
Hmm.
begging for that for 15 freaking years. You won't give us
More.
that, but you're gonna give us a spy thriller, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude, they've
And
been
yeah,
begging for King Conan for almost 40 years, dude.
yeah. But I mean, he actually looks the part now. I mean,
I think he's too old to play it, to be honest with you.
I
But I
mean,
get your
he
point, though.
probably,
I do get your
I
point.
mean, he probably is. But I mean, it's the one thing. I mean, if they actually did it, I'd go see it. It's the one thing I probably would go see.
Yeah, he should have made that long ago. Hey, you're right. Anyway, this is just kind of dumb. Moving on. And let's take a little interlude here and talk about something. Well, anyway, that's ending up. My theme I had today, which is remakes and reboots and old people doing stuff, and it's this nonstop railroad ride. Just I don't get it, dude. I mean, come on. Come on. You guys have been losing money at this. People have been bitching at you for a long time, but you're still doing it. They are not stopping, dude. Before I move on to the next thing, you guys got any comments on this? Closing comments, as it were?
Nope.
Well,
Waste of time.
No.
it,
Alrighty then.
it's a waste of time. But the unfortunate truth of it is because most of these projects are done by these big mega corporations. There's really no incentive for these people to be successful. All it is for them is their little narcissism projects. That's all this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
That's
it
too bad,
has
dude.
it has nothing to do with being successful because I mean, you look back historically on any person or company that was successful, it's because they had to put their ass on the line, or
Yeah.
else these people are playing with somebody else's money. There's no incentive for them to even
Yeah.
put out a good product.
A really good
So
example of what you're saying there, I think it was New Line Cinema, I think is the company I'm thinking of here. But they were done. They were going bankrupt. They had one movie that was in working, and they just because this is the last thing they were the last hurrah. They put all their effort just making their last fun movie for them, and they were going to close shop. And of course, that last fun little movie they made was called Nightmare on Elm Street, which totally revitalized their company. They put it on the line, and they also were in a relaxed environment in a way because they thought they were done. So they just went out there and really tried to do their last good bit and make a fun new thing, and they did. This is what we want, and we're just not getting it. So it is what it is. However, with that said, Mr. Schneider, Zack Schneider, be specific. If you guys remember, he made a movie, a remake of, I think, a George Romero remake of Dawn of the Dead, not too long ago, and it was not. I don't think it was anything special. Did you guys see that? The Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. Did you see it?
I did not.
Yeah,
Was that
it
20 years ago?
it was a while. It was
Um,
way back, but it was
That's hard.
it was all right.
I jumped off the zombie train 15 years ago. I could care less.
Well, I'm just saying it wasn't horrible, and it was enough for him to continue his universe and making Army of the Dead, the Army of the Dead, I think it's actually called, or maybe it's just Army of the Dead. However, this movie is getting a lot of good praise. And it is very interesting what they've done in this movie. Spoilers, I guess. This movie, the zombie plague in this movie is of alien origin. And there's a lot of pushing on alien themes here, and they've definitely left this off to do the third movie, because this is a continuation of the Dawn of the Dead in a way. Have any of you seen Army of the Dead? Just came out on Netflix, I think. Just came out.
I have not.
Nope.
I did
No.
see that in order to promote Batista's movie, WWE was paid apparently over $1 million to have a match that involved zombies, and my childhood got a little darker.
Oh,
Because
okay.
holy shit, WWE,
A
what
little
are you doing?
darker. Holy fuck.
Well, yeah.
That-
Now here on my Netflix in Japan, I certainly have it. We took a look at it, and I actually would give it a higher rating than the audience here of the 79. I'd say it's more like 85, 90. It's actually a great fun movie, dude. It might be my favorite Zack Snyder movie, actually. It's really
It's a
cool.
pretty low bar to cross, ain't it?
It is, but I just said I give it an 85, 90, and I'm picky as hell. Ask Booster. He knows. It's a fun flick,
It's
dude.
true. He cannot be pleased.
I
It's
cannot be
ridiculous.
pleased. It's a fun flick. It's gets
I'm
straight to
gonna
the
leave that
point.
alone.
It's you leave that alone. Don't pick at it. I liked it, dude. I liked it.
Can Batista play Bane or not? Tell me.
Oh, absolutely, dude. He actually puts an amazing performance in this movie, dude. It's
No,
quite
he's
emotional.
becoming
And he does
actually.
the voice.
He's becoming actually a good actor. It's
He is.
scary
No,
how
no.
quickly he's developing.
He puts out a really good dramatic role. I mean, his character. I don't know how much spoilers I want to give, but just spoilers. His character is a military guy, but he's kind of like a coward in a way. In a way, he is. And through the movie, he's working out the fact that anytime he has any kind of stress or conflict in his life, he basically just runs away from it. But in the end, so he has an actual character arc in this movie, complete character arc, and he does a great job. I mean, he's not the best character in the movie. There's a couple other that are much cooler. But yeah, he is becoming a real actor, dude. He most certainly is.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
impressed by him
Thundar,
actually.
the question that needs to be asked is, will they actually give us a proper Bane?
Well, that would
Well,
be nice. I think he can
That's
do
what
it.
he seems to want. Yeah, that's what he seems to want. He, from what I understand, he does. No, I hope not. He has said in publicly that he wants to be Bane, and I don't think Batista would want to be Bane and have it suck. So hopefully we get the proper Bane. We get the genius that is Bane, outsmarting Batman, beating him at his own game, and then breaking his fucking spine.
There'll be a reckoning.
Especially
Yeah,
if it's
like an
Pattinson.
actual one.
Especially if it's Pattinson. I want to
It
see
could
him
be
get busted.
Pattinson.
Break that bitch
That
in
could
half.
be.
I agree. But Eric liked Army of Darkness, Army of the Dead, sorry, as well. Yeah, I liked it. I'd suggest you go watch it. I guess it must be on the American Netflix as well. A lot of times over here on our Netflix, we get stuff that they just couldn't release here, so they just kind of throw it on Netflix. So it isn't necessarily on your Netflix, but I guess this is. Maybe it's a Netflix original. I don't know. It's Zack Snyder. It's one of the best movies he's ever made. It's a fun flick, dude. It is a solid 8.
That's where Schneider's wheelhouse is fun visual movies. When you try to let him have too much fun with other people's characters, especially, like all of his DC shit, it's shit. Just bad. It's not good. It might look pretty, It does look pretty, and he's actually pretty good at casting. I'll give him that. His
Yeah.
casting has been phenomenal for DC, but meh, just meh to
Especially
the
for
rest of
Lex
his movies.
Luthor.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. You know, that casting is phenomenal, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Because it's
Well,
so stupid.
this movie is much brighter. For Zack Snyder movies always seem to be very dark. This is actually quite a bright movie. It has its moments,
Oh,
obviously, but
somebody taught Zach that you can turn the lighting up.
yeah, someone did. Yeah, someone
Oh,
did.
What? You can see more, Zach. Look!
Yeah,
wait a minute.
Look at this! Superman's almost blue!
yeah. Well, he's got some of that in there too. He's still got his blue. He likes his blue. You can't take it away from him. However, and that's actually a joke because the blue plays an important part in this movie. However, I liked it. I suggest you guys check it out. And it's not a bad flick, and it's a very different zombie movie too. It's not what you're used to. It's quite different in many many ways. There's lots of Easter eggs. He kind of got deep with that, and the ending shows you very clearly that there's a third one coming. Clearly, and like I said, he's trying to make a little trilogy universe here, and I don't mind it. I'm looking forward to seeing. And the guy who you see at the end of the movie, who's who is going to be the next character in the next movie, he's a pretty good actor. I don't know who he is, but I liked him. I thought he was pretty good. And of course, you have the Alpha, who is Zeus, and you have this guy who's the Omega. It's kind of a big, like a gigantic wink, 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 wink. This is your guy, wink. They do that a lot. Well, anyway. So seeing as no one here has seen this movie, I'll just move on. But yeah, check it out. All right. Now, I decided not to do an actual TFT today, but I did want to kind of make a mention here because there's been a lot of movement on the UFO stuff, a lot. And I was thinking about doing a part two to the first one we did, but the thing is, all I'm seeing is many of the standard places that have been talking about it, including like Tucker Carlson and some of the other places. All they're doing is kind of keeping you aware of the fact that in June there is a report coming. That's all they're doing. They haven't added anything new to the conversation. They just keep, and that in of itself is interesting because they're making sure, or they're trying to make sure that you have it in your mind and pay attention, which is interesting, I think. So I didn't make a new TFT because there's nothing new to talk about. All they're doing is just trying to keep your mind on it. And why are they doing that? That in and of itself is a question. However, I did want to make one little comment about UFOs themselves. Here you see a Vimana, and this is an ancient Indian UFO, spacecraft of the gods. Not only do they describe them very well in the various Eddas of, well, I shouldn't say Eddas, stories of India, they actually had an entire book we found and translated which detail how they're built. Interesting. However,
Those propellers would not work. That's just terrible.
well,
I hate that design.
well, but if you read the actual how it's built, what happens is the reason it's circular is in the bottom of it, and in this many layers of it, but especially in the bottom, you have this channel of mercury that's being spun at high speed around around that circle, and that is creating an anti-gravity effect. So the propellers are the propulsion. And in that case, if it has no gravity, those would work just fine.
Um,
I
Here's
hate
a
it.
question for the world.
Mhm.
What if these UFOs aren't coming from space? What if they're coming from under the ocean?
Or just here on Earth, yeah, good point. I've said that
What if
several
I
times.
thought about that shit. You know that
Atlantis
freaks me
is
out
real?
on our...
No, for real though. What if Atlantis is real and it's not just a myth and it's been there this whole time, and now our technology's to the point where we might be able to, mess with them or detect them, so they're like, "Hey, the hell are you doing up here?" And they're sending shit because we have a lot of these videos coming out from the Navy and from the military or whatever show that the UFO or UAP or whatever they call it now, flying up into the air and then diving under the water and then flying back out or diving back under the water and disappearing. And there's all kinds of stories of UFOs being just right under the surface of the water.
Yeah.
and like pilots flying over and they can see it, and then it just disappears.
Yeah.
So what if that's what it is? I'm
Yeah.
just speculating.
Barry,
No,
you're
I've
figuring
been
it
saying
all
that.
out. He's gonna get assassinated. He's done.
Yeah, he's dead.
Here they
But
come.
I've been saying that all along. However, there is another thing in this picture I'm showing you to think about. Uh, these stories are from thousands and thousands of years ago. Matter of fact, there's speculation that these stories might even be antediluvian in age. However,
Yes.
more importantly to these ancient stories, why do they understand about Mercury? And the fact that they're saying Mercury creates anti-gravity. So how do they know what anti-gravity is? And more importantly, how do they know what a propeller is? It's kind of interesting.
Good point. Well, if you look, like that's what I was saying earlier. There's in ancient Indian legends and folklore, I don't know the name of it, but there's all different.
There's
It's
many.
some ridiculous Indian words. Uh, there's all different examples of aircraft, spaceships, all sorts of stuff.
No, yeah, it's very
Like
science
that's
fiction.
what it's describing, and it's describing them in great detail. It's not just like, oh yeah, and he rode a chariot to the sky like the Bible does. No. These are like you could take that description and make a movie with it. It's so good.
You could. Well, I mean, like I said, there's an entire book on how they built these things. Literally an entire book. But yeah, the Mesopotamian stories, or of course, that's what these are, the same stories, very science fiction-y. When you get around a little bit later with Egypt, at least the Egyptian stories we have, it starts becoming more of leaning toward God stories. By the time it gets to the Greeks and Romans, it's God stories 100% instead of being science fiction-y. But in the beginning, the old stuff, the Mesopotamian stuff, the Sumerian stuff, and the Indian stuff, it is very science fiction. Now, but I want to make a point here. This is a visual recreation of what the books describe as a Vimana, or this type of Vimana. Let's look at maybe a possible progression. As you see, they have the circular shape because they have to spin Mercury around at high speed to create the anti-gravity lift, right? And then they have a tower above it for the people to live in and to shoot out, weaponry and stuff like that. And up top, of course, you get a throne room. Now, let's look at something more modern from, say, World War II era. Now, I know we have some modern looking things here these days, but I kind of feel these wedge type things, they might be like American craft, though. But nevertheless, we know. I'm just want to put this up here to admit that there are other types of UFO shapes. I get it, but the one that we see consistently is this circular flying saucer thing. And a lot of people say, "Oh, that just came out of Hollywood." No, it didn't, dude. It's been around a very long time. This is in itself is an example. And let's look at maybe an update of it here. Now, this is something that's more along the lines of course, they got modern planes there, but this is more along the lines of something in World War II type of shape. With a little, the tower has been greatly reduced, but you still have the circular thing. And I don't know how they're doing propulsion, but it's still keeping that circular shape for the rotation of the Mercury. And then we look at something much more modern. So I'm just saying that it's interesting to me because I feel there's a progression here over time. Now, these last two are very close together in time, and now these are recreations. These aren't real, of course, but just to give us a clear image, because they're never clear, of course. Do you guys think there's anything to that? Are we seeing actual progression in technology?
Could be. Or it could be, and this to play the devil's advocate here, it could be that our understanding of these things has gotten better as people. So in order to make them more realistic to an observer, we've updated the way they look. Right? So since we understand how planes work, at least most people get the basic idea of propulsion, lift, and off it goes.
Mhm.
In order to make these look more realistic or more like believable, that's the better word, legitimate.
Yeah.
We've
yeah.
updated the way they look too. But I don't think that. I think that it's probably more of the fact of when we think about just trying to describe something in day-to-day life, right? So you describe something to one person, they take that description over here in the telephone game, and all of a sudden it becomes something completely different. Well, when we look back through history, that kind of is what happened with a lot of stuff.
Oh, sure.
Like a lot of stuff. That's why our view of history is so off in a lot of ways, because we'll find things that just completely change entire perspectives on things because we're looking at it from somebody's second-hand account, or third or fourth or fifth or whatever hand account. We're not necessarily looking at it from a person who did it as it happened. They didn't have, as far as we know anyway, they didn't have cameras and recording devices. They had to remember something and then write it down.
Yeah.
So that could have altered a lot of the perspective on a lot of this stuff too. And that's why it looks so much better now and so much different now. Because think about it. You could almost take that picture there, that Vimana, and if you just squished it,
that's what I meant.
Spread it a little bit
down, right? It's
yeah,
squished
yeah,
down
just squish it and
version,
spread it, and bam, it's basically the same thing.
right here. Yeah. And this is more along the World War II German thing that they captured, right? This one right here. But yeah, that's my point. It looks squished down. It looks like it's become modernized. And keep in mind that with the Mahabharata or some of the other stories that talk about these Vimanas and things like that, they are, like you said, they're a little bit more of like a first-hand account. Someone seeing it and trying to describe it. However, that book they found on the construction of Vimana is an engineer's manual. It's different, and this design you're looking right here is based upon that manual. And if you look at the description in the Mahabharata and some of the other ones, they look more castle-like. They're a little bit more gothic and kind of stylized. Whereas the one in that engineer's manual, it's very practical, like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another example, like Devilish Boredom points out over here in the chat, the Nazi bell. That was a real thing that existed, that they tested, and actually got working to some degree, but never got it too much further than just basic liftoff, as far as we know, anyway. But there's a reason why Nazi scientists were gobbled up, like we were talking about earlier, with Project Paperclip all over the world, because they were really, really advanced in propulsion, specifically propulsion. Their jets were way ahead of everybody else. They were 20 years ahead. And then once we gobbled up their scientists, we passed them. But before then, they were their knowledge of aeronautics was unmatched. The Luftwaffe dominated the airs for most of the war.
And why?
The airways.
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Now we know that the Nazi or Gestapo were all over the world searching for occult lore and occult items. They were very seriously doing that, and to the point that the movie Indiana Jones, the original one, of course, it's a fun fantasy adventure, but it's not really outside the realm of reality because that's exactly what the Nazis were doing, and we know this. This is the Nazi Bell place here, by the way, that they were doing the testing and stuff. Are they connected? Is there something going on? Here's another image of some of the stuff they found when they. Let's go ahead and bring this one.
Well, like you said before, Chester, a lot of the great empires of the past, a lot of these conquerors, they were very obsessed with Mercury. Genghis Khan was obsessed with it. Alexander the Great was obsessed with it.
Yep.
They talked about Mercury all the time, and to the point that Genghis did what he did to find more Mercury.
Completely.
So there's something with Mercury.
Yeah. And
something
Alexander
with Mercury
did as well. But no, you're right. There is something going on Mercury, and Genghis Khan, his entire motivation to go to the West had nothing to do with conquering at all. He was 100% looking for Mercury. That's his whole motivation.
Inject it directly into his bloodstream to become more powerful.
No, you're thinking of the first emperor of China. You're not.
Have bones of steel.
Well, he did die on his own vomit, so that might be true. Maybe he just got curious one day and was like, what happens if I do this? And choked himself to death, puking it up.
and keep in mind that all over the world, mercury is a very heavily controlled substance. And they say it's poison and deadly, yada, yada, yada. But yet there's been many individuals who you can find on the internet, YouTube even, that have demonstrated very clearly mercury is not poisonous at all.
No.
So why is that?
Someone should inject it directly into my
You
veins.
should. You should. I think you should.
Yeah, I
And I
recommend
can
it.
become a superhero.
Yes, you
Yeah.
should. That's right. You become Mercury
Yeah.
Man.
That's actually a good name for a superhero, just Mercury.
Yes. I pissed Mercury at the enemy, and they light on fire.
My cock's blocked up. Ah!
Anyway, I just wanted to kind of add this little thought today, because coming up here in a couple of weeks, maybe I don't know how many weeks, but soon next month we are getting this Pentagon drop. And they and you know it's not like the Pentagon and hadn't said stuff before, but this one seems to be a full-on report. Keep in mind, I mentioned to you that this last big old trillion, no, a year ago, that multi-trillion dollar budget to try to help with COVID and mainly did nothing for COVID. One of the light items in there was to create this report, right?
Yep.
And it's coming, and they think it's important enough that some of the big boys on TV keep trying to remind you and keep it in your mind. That's interesting to me. Tucker Carlson, whether you like him or not, is one of the biggest news anchors in the world. Plain and
He's the
simple.
biggest.
Yeah. Well, India might have an argument with that. However,
Well, true. Good point.
even in India, they watch Tucker Carlson, right? So
Mhm.
having him constantly putting out little videos talking about the same thing and saying, "Hey, it's coming, it's coming." It's interesting. Grimlock, you still in here, dude?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
I was listening.
Well, no, that's cool.
I'm kind of cynical. I'm like, yeah, anything to get people to forget about how good old Uncle Dementia's fucking failing.
Fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough, and there's certainly a possibility because I've said since the beginning that we all of us have said, well, how long is that's the joke? How long is Biden going to be in office before Kamala becomes president? But I mean,
he doesn't know he's there
he
now.
doesn't. But the thing is, Joe Biden himself is a red flag. You know, he himself is the red flag. However, with that aside, what do you think it means that someone like Tucker Carlson and others, not just him, are constantly trying to keep it in our brain? Like every week, a couple days a week, they're mentioning this. It's coming, it's coming. What do you think about that? That is a literal 90 degree, excuse me, an 80, 180-degree shift from
Yep.
what they do. They usually make us look at aliens as being this jokey, weird, cultish group. These idiots over here talking about little green men. That's usually what the government's propaganda is. Now they're
Mhm.
switching that. Well, we need to take it seriously now, and they keep using people like Tucker Carlson to keep reminding us. What do you think about that?
I don't know yet. It'll really depend on what we see in this big report. If it's a big old fat stinker of a nothing burger,
Yeah.
then it was just a distraction to distract everybody from how terrible the country, basic metrics in the country have begun to be.
It's a
Whether
mess.
it be
It is a mess.
inflation,
Yeah.
whether it be the price of gas, the price of food, everything's going up and at unbelievable speeds. Um, all that nonsense, right? The jobs report, all of it. None of it's good. None of it's a good sign. President who clearly either wants war in the Middle East, which is probably what it is, or is so mentally gone he doesn't realize that his weakness is going to allow more people to get killed.
I don't think he's in charge of anything at all, dude. I
No,
really
he's not.
don't.
But
Yeah.
but the perception is that he is, right? So that's all that matters.
Thus,
Is
he's the
what
red flag,
the
right?
perception is. Yeah.
So
I think the it'll really depend on what's in it. If there's a lot in there, then I think it's probably a legitimate drop of information that probably Trump, who'll never get credit for it, kind of forced their hand on.
force their hand on it. Yeah. That's fair.
We'll
What do you
see.
think, Grimlock?
I'm kind of with Thundaro. It would have to be something spectacular to because I think at this point they just really want to get people's mind off of the fact that they have ruined millions and millions of people's lives in this country with a false pandemic in the name of fucking politics. Because that's really what this was. I mean, you got to be a special kind of blind or stupid to not see that everything that happened last year had nothing to do with keeping people safe. It was all in the name of we finally got something we can pin on Trump.
I
Yep.
That
guess. Yeah.
obsession, this insane obsession that you know
Yeah.
that
No.
went on, it, and the aftermath. Because I mean, the effects of last year is going to last another good, especially with the way inflation is looking, the way unemployment is looking.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
I.
this
I'm.
has to. Just short of actually trotting out an actual alien, I don't think there's going to be, but so much that I think the people will be like, "Wow, I'm glad I waited for that."
Yeah, no, the content does matter. Of course it does. And I'm a little bit surprised they haven't froze the market yet, because inflation is starting to really go. And
It's what they
they
wanted.
usually freeze the market in that.
The best way, as we've learned, as we know, especially from Rome, to make sure that the people stay poor and are no threat to the establishment is to debase their currency. Works every time. There's a reason why a lot of emperors and a lot of Roman politicians were quite literally murdered by their constituents because they kept debasing the currency, the Roman coin.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
they know what they're doing, and I think he's right. They're doing it on purpose.
But then they would force it back into a set amount. They would reset things over and over throughout their history. Booster, peanut gallery time. Go ahead.
What? What are we talking about peanut galleries for?
Because peanuts are great, and I want your take on the what we've been talking about. I know you're playing a game and you're eating a pie.
He he
However,
he he wants
Oh,
you to stop playing with your peanuts for 5 minutes and commentate.
yes,
I tuned out. Y'all stupid.
there it is. There it is. Y'all stupid. Uh, Zach says, "All hail your lizard men overlords! Of your livers will be chow." That's probably true. They just want to eat us. Roger says, "Yes, that's what we're waiting for, and not the Arizona audit and all the audits to find voter fraud that we don't want to find out about. Yes, aliens. It's fair enough." Fair enough. And many people are making these comments, and you're probably right. That's probably what it is. It's just these are fun things to talk about because we don't know, so we can speculate all we want, right?
Here's the
But
best part about using aliens to try and cover up for a stolen election. What? Now, granted, the TV sheep, and the Democrats, most of them, hashtag most of them, will go along with it anyway, even though logically that makes no sense. Why would we believe a government who has been lying to us for 80 years? How long's it been now? When did Roswell happen? When the real hysteria kicked off, the 40s? Why in God's name?
43.
Yeah, why in God's name would we believe them when they tell us, well, but the election was nice and secure?
yeah, no,
You lied to us for almost a century. What?
I,
What?
I get that, and there are a lot of lies. The government lies. It's its first move. I get this. However, the thing that interests me is not any of the stuff you guys are saying, because you're probably right. It's the tonal shift from
Mhm.
the government, because they've always played it up. We know the CIA and other groups have literally let the propaganda go in the direction of, oh, yes, wacky UFO, green aliens, ha ha ha, idiots. They're always leaning that way. They've never tried to debunk it, they've never tried to get rid of it. They lean into it. They lean into the silliness and the farce of it. But all of a sudden, they have literally flipped 180 and are doing the opposite. You need to take this seriously. Something important is coming. Now, it might be complete nonsense. It might be just a red flag to draw your attention away. Fair enough. But it's interesting to me, the absolute tonal shift coming out of the government. It's shockingly the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's because this last year and a half, especially, has proven every conspiracy theorist nut, so called, right. So one thing that I've noticed they do when the conspiracy theories start to come true, they lean into the ones that are more popular, that are more palatable,
Fair
that
enough.
don't have necessarily political implications, and that the biggest one is aliens.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Think about it for a second. We could say, well, the government's been lying to us, but that means every government's been lying to us. Republican, Democrat, or whatever has
Right.
been lying to us about it for 80 years.
Yep.
So the political ramifications of it are far less impactful, most likely. But I think I honestly think, from what it looks like, from what I've seen, Trump got that put in there himself, or at least somebody on his team did, probably at his behest, because if you remember, he knew he wasn't going to be president anymore. If you remember, and I do remember, we've talked about it, when he had his conversation with Obama, he was stone faced terrified.
Yeah.
Go like a ghost. And
And
he's not, that's not him. He's never like that.
No, and what is the one government agency that he not only promoted but created?
Space
Right,
Force.
Space Force.
Yeah. Now, in
And
fairness, they had
he
been
was
working on
serious.
a form of Space Force for years, but he did come in and cement it
He
and get it
pushed it,
funded
and
and
he
get it
pushed it.
set up. And it's kind of like Thomas Jefferson and the Marines. The Marines kind of already existed before Thomas Jefferson, but he made them a real thing. He brought them up to a level of a standard of excellence, and then used that standard of excellence to slaughter endless Barbary pirates.
And
But
Tripoli, yeah.
yeah, but I think I think that's part of why. Honestly, like I don't. Trump will probably never talk about it because they're not supposed to, even though Obama's been talking about it. But whatever. Uh, but I remember it. I remember it like yesterday. He's
Yeah.
sitting there and he's got his hands kind of folded in front of him, looking very meek for Donald Trump, and he's scared. It looks like he's afraid. And
Yeah.
most people probably just assume, holy crap, he was like, "I'm president. I'm going to be president." Like
No.
that would be something
No.
for most people. But I don't think Trump's like that. What I think happened is Obama showed him and told him everything about UFOs.
Well,
And
high
Trump
flying
just
assets is what he said.
yeah, his exact words were, maybe we have more high flying assets than I thought, or something like that. But he definitely said high flying assets. And he didn't know how to process that. Their 15-minute meeting turned into an hour and a half meeting. So I think something's up. I don't know if it's extraterrestrial or terrestrial or just some crazy super science nonsense that the government or some government has. I have no idea. Interdimensional beings, no idea. But I think it's silly to dismiss when there's evidence of it going back centuries, millennia,
Yeah.
of
And
ships in the sky, things in the
Sure.
sky that people can't explain.
It's true. And keep in mind, I think people are hungry for such things. I
Yes.
know when they had that big meeting back in the 60s, where they came to the conclusion that better to lie to the public because it'll panic them and create this big problem, which is why they've been doing what they've been doing so long, hiding it,
Yeah.
disseminating information, right? Was from international, it was full of international people. It was an American meeting they had in the 60s. However, in the interim, the people of the world, particularly in the West, I think they're hungry for it. I don't think you'd see any panic at all if they announced there were actual aliens here on Earth or there were ships. I don't think you'd see any panic at all. I think you'd see some idiots. I think what you saw on Independence Day, as schlocky a movie as that was, I think that's exactly what you would see.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think people's ability to rationalize their own belief system is way stronger than information that kind of disproves it. So this fear that religious people is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of religious zealots becoming terrorists, basically, because of the information, right? I don't. Well, you're definitely not going to see that from most Christians because I can already give you the answers from the Bible for why these things exist. But you're also definitely probably not going to see that from just about any. You're definitely not going to see it from Hindus or Buddhists or anything of an Indian origin because their cultures had UFOs in it for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So the only people you might see it from are like the super devout Muslims who are doing it anyway. So what's the big deal? What are we worried about here?
Yeah.
We're getting mad at the rain when the ocean's already full. Like, what are we doing?
Right. And the Orientals be like, "Oh, that looks like just one I built in my backyard."
See, here he is. Chester playing his yellow card again because he's married to an Asian woman.
Well, that was Chinese. That wasn't Japanese. I show him the respect where it's due. But anyway, it's interesting, and we'll keep our ears open and see. It's probably all you guys are probably right. It's probably nothing. It's a big old nothing burger. However, it has intrigued me because of the tonal shift. And Zach's, I agree 100%, dude. That's exactly why they did that. They did because we do know that there are American aircraft that are very high tech, and we don't even know exactly what they are. Because, like I said before, the stealth fighter, the stealth bomber, even the Aurora project, all those things are out of the 60s and 70s. All of that. That technology is older or older than me.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we don't know what they're flying around in, to be honest. And Dillard
Well,
comes in and
I
does
know
some
for a
very
fact 20 years ago they had jet engines capable of going Mach 10. I know this for a fact. I saw one.
yeah
Boeing was making them. A whole bunch of defense contractors were making them with the Aurora and everything else. And they were trying to get them to where they could use them commercially, right? So you could go from New York to Tokyo in 2 hours, some ridiculously fast time.
yeah
But it never materialized, not really, like these hypersonic jets. Now it's
yeah
starting to. There's companies starting to actually move forward with it now, but they're at least a decade off probably before they actually get them working, or at least get them, certified. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of technology that Alex Jones calls it the breakaway civilization that the elite allegedly have. The elite of the elite, the ones we're not allowed, the ones we don't actually talk about in the media,
right.
uh, and that they have technology, 50, maybe even 100 years more advanced than what the general population has. That could very well be possible when you look at the
Oh,
stealth
definitely,
bombers,
definitely
and you
possible.
look at the stuff like Elon Musk has. And he would be general population, even though he's up at the top. So it's very possible that they have. I mean, think about it. SpaceX, and them have rockets that literally can land. They can land a rocket now.
They
Like, that's
can
insane.
finally, yeah,
Yeah.
finally, yeah. But John Dillard is reminding us of the toilet paper Armageddon and thinking there won't be any panic. I get you, John.
I
I
mean,
just
people
think
will
people
probably
are
go
so
buy more toilet
desensitized.
paper. For
That's
some reason,
they
that
will.
became
Yeah,
everybody's crutch.
I know.
People are just out here buying toilet paper like it was literal gold from the heavens. I
Yeah,
don't know what happened with that. I don't know why everybody.
yeah.
I can't wipe my ass with my hand. What am I, a savage?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But also keep in mind that some of the speed reports that they gave in they gave in these interviews that came out recently, where so they were talking like Mach 32, Mach 37, which
Yes.
is that's pretty fast, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
that would literally kill you if you didn't have some kind of inertial dampening system
yeah,
in the
you would
vehicle. It
have
would
to
crush
have
you.
it. Yeah, yeah.
You'd splatter from the G-force.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in June. I think it's an interesting conversation, even if it is red flag. But whatever. We do one thing on the red flag side of it that we have noticed. It's kind of interesting to me how the current administration keeps having to fall back into Trump era policies. It's pissing
Except
them
for the
off,
good
dude.
ones.
Yeah, it's pissing them off though, Grimlock. They don't like it, but they happen to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like if you go in, you find the best people or something, you let them do their job. It's strange how things work out like that. Anyway,
Well, remember the major complaint about Trump was, oh, he's going to run America like a business.
you know,
Is that a bad thing?
is that a bad thing? Yeah, no, I agree. I think he did a great job. I mean, he shocked me. I didn't expect him to be able to do that good a job. I was like, good on you, dude. And I
Oh
liked
no,
his mean
I
tweets.
thought he would have fucked up in the first 2 years, but after
He
the
didn't.
North Korea summit, I'm like, hey, I think this guy can pull it off.
Well, I mean that's interesting. I knew the money stuff would probably be fine, but he was really good at the international stuff, the diplomacy. I was like, really? Wow, that's cool, dude. But anyway, we'll see. That's our show for today. Remake Heaven. Everything you didn't want's coming. So get ready. But let's go ahead and get our closing comments. Booster, tell people about your upcoming comic book, which is almost finished.
I don't want to.
Okay. All right, fine.
Okay,
I'll
I've
tell
done the
you.
script, and Shabby just started working on it. He's got first couple of pages done so far, but we've just started the drawing process, right? But the script is all done, settled, and everything. It's absolutely beautiful. The drawing is starting. There's a couple of pages done out of 56, so it'll take a couple of months to get her done.
No, that's actually pretty quick.
But it's coming. It's coming.
That's
It's
good.
coming.
All right, guys. Booster's finally put on his big boy pants and is going to try to be an adult. It's good. Grimlucky, any closing comments, dude?
No, it's becoming, I would say, almost comedic how badly watching these people circle the drains with these remakes and these half-assed ideas have
Yeah.
become. It's, and they just don't, and the fact that is they just don't get it. It's that the fact that you can get 20,000 people to watch people badmouth people making multi-million-dollar decisions, and they're not getting it.
No. No, they're not getting it,
Um,
and I guess they won't. They'll keep not getting it until something happens. I guess, but that is true. And keep in mind, Grimlock, you don't have to sneak in under the cover of darkness. You can show up on time and join us.
well, see, Thundaro knows I work almost as much as you do in terms of hours, so like
Okay,
this is my one day off, so I kind of like get in where I can.
I see. No, I get you. Yeah, I understand that, of course.
See,
So,
he doesn't want to be the stereotype of the lazy African person, African American man.
mhm.
So he outworks every white man I know. The man's a nut. He's a nut.
So,
I do have one thing to say for old Jiminy Cricket over here. He posted a link to Secret Comics Presents. Go back that, support our boy. Jiminy's
yeah,
a good dude.
great artist.
He's a fantastic artist, and I recommend if you like Jiminy,
He's
you
pretty
like his
good.
work, you should support it because he's a good guy.
He's a good boy. He deserves. He deserves a
believe-
hit pat, a little tickle on his tummy, a little backing. Yeah.
The racist group known as Comicsgate, that Jiminy Cricket was the first actual moderator of any Comicsgate channel.
He was.
I believe it was him.
Yeah.
Yes. Other than that, I don't got much else to say. I should be here tomorrow, barring the universe exploding. I'll be here. I was a little late today because I was finishing my steaks. They were taking too long to
Ooh.
cook for some reason,
Ooh.
but I got them there, and they're
Ooh.
delicious.
Yeah, that's.
Other than that, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your night. If you're in the East Coast, your night's probably just about over. But everybody else, have a great night and morning.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you
Love
guys
you.
very much. Namaste. Later.
Mwah, you're so beautiful. Mwah.
Bye.
Doesn't ever get less creepy.